Chapter 3142. Come out, Sister Jinghong. The Tower Master of Azure Heaven said softly after Ling Xiao left. A woman with a graceful figure and a pair of wings on her back, dressed in a snow-white veil, stepped out. Her entire body exuded a holy and mysterious aura. It was Fairy Jinghong from the Feather Tribe. Sister Azure Heaven, do you think he's a robber? Fairy Jinghong had a complicated look in her eyes. Robber? To be able to buy so many origin pearls at once, he does seem like a robber. But I don't think he's a robber. The Jade Fall Overseer smiled lazily, exuding a myriad of emotions. Why? Fairy Jinghong frowned. I don't know, it's just a feeling. He's the chosen one with the heavenly Tao's providence. Why would he be willing to become a robber? You're underestimating the chosen one. Besides, a robber wouldn't dare to buy origin pearls so openly like him, right? The Tower Master of Azure Heaven smiled. The chosen one? The chosen one is more likely to become a target, right? Fairy Jinghong said slowly as she pointed her finger upwards. That's hard to say. Robbers hide very well. But Sister Jinghong, you're cold and only care about the Tao. You don't care about anything. Why are you so interested in this Ling Xiao? Could it be that you're secretly in love with him? The Tower Master of Azure Heaven said with a smile. Sister Azure Heaven, this joke isn't funny at all. You know that I don't want him to delay the Empress. It seems like the Empress' taste isn't very good. Fairy Jinghong frowned and said, Sister Jinghong, you're getting bolder. How dare you slander the Empress? But I think this kid isn't simple. He might give us a surprise. The Tower Master of Azure Heaven smiled. 3 days later, I won't have time for the test in Candle Dragon Imperial City. I only hope that he can escape the pursuit of the 8 Dragon Lords and pass the test. If he dies in the Candle Dragon Imperial City, then he, the chosen one, will be the biggest joke in the world. Fairy Jinghong said calmly. Then, without waiting for the Tower Master of Azure Heaven's response, she turned and left. 8 Dragon Monarchs? Those 8 iron fools are indeed not easy to deal with, but why do I feel that this kid is not afraid? The Tower Master of Jade Fall mumbled to herself. Her eyes were filled with interest. Outside the fortune building, a strange light flashed in Ling Xiao's eyes. The aura of a harpy? Could it be Fairy Jinghong? Ling Xiao thought to himself. When he saw the Tower Master of Jade Heaven, he also sensed the aura of the Feather Race. Although it was well hidden, it did not escape Ling Xiao's notice. The aura of the Feather Race was pure and holy. Although Ling Xiao could not tell, he felt that there was a high chance that it was Fairy Jinghong. I wonder which old friend of mine she is acquainted with for her to pay so much attention to me? Ling Xiao guessed. He didn't sense any malicious intent, but it was too much of a coincidence that he had sensed the aura of a harpy in the Fortune Pavilion. Since he's an old friend, he'll know one day. Since the Candle Dragon Imperial City is so prosperous, I'll see if I can find more origin pearls of perfect quality. Ling Xiao suppressed the doubts in his heart and walked towards the majestic shops on the main street. Brother Ing, is that the kid who killed your 9th brother? In a restaurant not far away from the fortune building, 2 young men with powerful auras sat by the window. One of them was wearing black armor and emanated a murderous aura. His face was cold and murderous. He was Ing Ilong of the Winged Dragon Tribe, the leader of the 9 Dragon Monarchs. Opposite him sat a handsome man with a folding fan in his hand. He exuded a feminine aura. The handsome man saw Ling Xiao in the distance and gently waved the fan in his hand as he spoke with interest. That's right. Ing Ilong said in a low voice. This kid killed your 9th brother. Are you going to let him roam freely in front of you? If it were me, I would kill him right now. The handsome man said with a smile. Brother Zhuchen, your ancestor is the guardian of the Candle Dragon Imperial City. If you want to kill him, it's fine. But if I do, won't your ancestor interfere? Ing Ilong said coldly. Zhu Chen was a sky pride of the Illumination Dragon Tribe. The Illumination Dragon Tribe had entered the Eternal Emperor Road countless eras ago and remained hidden from the world. The Illumination Dragon Tribe's ancestor was the guardian of the Illumination Dragon Imperial City. The Winged Dragon Tribe and the Candle Dragon Tribe were inextricably linked. That was why Ying Yilong was able to invite young Master Zhu Qin. Of course I'll interfere. No one is allowed to fight in the Candle Dragon Imperial City. This is an iron law and I, Zhu Qin, am no exception. Zhu Qin said with a smile. If that's the case, Brother Zhu Qin, why are you being so sarcastic? Ying Yilong said coldly. Brother Ying, don't be hasty. Given the relationship between our clans, why can't I make a joke? Didn't you come looking for me this time to kill him? Zhu Qin said with a smile. That's right. This kid killed my 9th brother and we have an irreconcilable feud. I can't wait to kill him now. Therefore, Brother Zhu Qin, please kill him for me. I'm willing to pay any price. Ying Yilong said coldly, not concealing the blazing killing intent in his eyes. You're really willing to pay any price? Zhu Qin said with a faint smile. That's right. Ying Yilong said with a nod. All right. Since Brother Ying is so straightforward, I won't beat around the bush. A perfect grade origin pearl of the winged dragon tribe and 100 billion origin pills and I'll kill him for you. How about that? Zhu Qin closed the folding fan in his hand and looked at Ying Yilong seriously. That's too expensive. Behind Ying Yilong, the faces of the 7 dragon monarchs changed, turning somewhat ugly. Even Ying Yilong's face twitched. 100 billion origin pills was not a big deal. Although it was a hefty sum, it was nothing to the Rain Dragon tribe. This time, the 9 dragon lords had brought enough origin pills with them. However, a perfect grade origin pearl of the winged dragon tribe was a little hard to accept. Even though the 9 dragon lords were extremely talented, only 4 or 5 of them had condensed a perfect grade origin pearl of the winged dragon tribe. The others wanted to find opportunities in the Eternal Emperor Road to condense their own origin pearls. If he gave a perfect grade origin pearl to Zhu Qin, his cultivation would definitely improve greatly. He might even be able to pry into the secrets of the winged dragon tribe. However, after thinking about it, Ying Yilong agreed. Alright, Brother Zhu Qin, here are 100 billion origin pills and a perfect grade origin pearl of the winged dragon tribe. I don't want that kid to live past today. Ying Yilong slammed the table and said coldly. An origin pill river and a dazzling milky white jade box flew out from his sleeves. Chapter 3143. Zhu Qin's eyes lit up. He immediately put away the origin pill river without hesitation. Then, he opened the jade box and checked the origin bead of winged dragon. Only then did he reveal an extremely satisfied smile. Very good. Brother Ying is indeed straightforward. Don't worry, I'll make the arrangements now. That kid won't live to see tomorrow. Zhu Qin smiled faintly. Then, he waved the folding fan in his hand and left in a carefree manner. Seeing Zhu Qin leave, the expressions of the 7 dragon lords turned ugly. Big brother, one of the dragon lords couldn't help but speak. Ying Yilong hastily stopped him. Then he waved his hand. Immediately, a huge barrier enveloped the private room. Big brother, why did you give him the 100 billion origin pills and the perfected rain dragon origin pearl? Even if you want to give it to him, shouldn't you wait until he kills that kid? One of the dragon lords asked doubtfully. You don't understand. Zhu Qin is the guardian's favorite great-grandson. He has extraordinary talent and is worth our effort to rope him in. Moreover, since I gave it to him now, he has to do his best to kill that kid. Ying Yilong said slowly. Big brother, there's something I don't understand. Why do we have to attack that kid now? 3 days later, it'll be the Torch Dragon Imperial City's test. At that time, the Feather Tribe won't have time to protect him. Isn't it better if we kill him then? Another dragon lord asked. 3 days later? Let's not talk about whether there will be any accidents in 3 days. Do you really think that kid is so easy to kill? Ying Yilong said with a cold smile. Easy to kill? He's just a 3rd Heaven Imperial Emperor. Big brother, you don't have to do anything. I can kill him myself. A 5th Heaven Imperial Lord Dragon Monarch said with some dissatisfaction. You can't kill him. You might even die in his hands. Because his name is Ling Xiao. He's the chosen one of this era. Ying Yilong said faintly. There was a trace of dark light in his eyes. Chosen one of the chosen ones? Ling Xiao? The other 7 dragon lords were shocked. There was a trace of disbelief in their eyes. The words "chosen one of the chosen ones" seemed to have some kind of magic that made them fall silent. Even if he's the chosen one, his cultivation is only at the 3rd level of the imperial monarch realm. A dragon monarch said unwillingly. 3rd heaven imperial lord? Could the heaven's chosen one be measured by cultivation? Have you all forgotten the former heavenly emperor? In Ilong sneered. Celestial emperor? How can Ling Xiao compare to the celestial emperor when he has yet to prove his Tao and slay emperors? The 2nd dragon lord said in a hoarse voice. Then how do you know that he can't compare to the celestial emperor? He was the chosen one, so no matter how much one overestimated him, it would not be too much. Moreover, 9th brother was killed by him in one move, so we must be cautious. Even if we have to pay a price, it would be good to let Zhu Chen test his strength. In Ilong slowly said. What if Zhu Chen is no match for him? Even Zhu Chen is not his match. The corners of In Ilong's mouth curled into a smile. Isn't that even better? Then he would have offended the Illumination Dragon tribe and the Guardian. Even if he's the chosen one, do you think he'll be a match for the Guardian? If he offends the Guardian, he'll definitely die. In that case, our Winged Dragon tribe will only have to pay a price to kill our enemy. Big Brother is truly brilliant. Ling Xiao strolled around the Illumination Dragon Imperial City again. In the end, he was extremely disappointed to find that other than the Fortune Pavilion, there were many low-grade, middle-grade, and high-grade origin pearls in the shops, but not a single perfected origin pearl. Only one shop had a perfected origin pearl that was regarded as the treasure of the shop. When they saw that Ling Xiao wanted it, they demanded an exorbitant price of 100 billion origin pills. Ling Xiao left without looking back. Only then did he realize how lucky he was to be able to buy 10 perfected origin pearls in the Fortune Pavilion. 28 Dao fruits are enough for my cultivation to reach the peak of the 3rd level of the Imperial Monarch realm. Now, I still lack a strong opponent. Ling Xiao thought to himself. Those 10 Dao fruits had already been integrated into Ling Xiao's primordial spirit consciousness and were being slowly refined by him. Powerful origin energy flowed throughout his body, causing his aura to become stronger and stronger. Ling Xiao felt that it would not be long before he could break through. However, at that moment, Ling Xiao was stopped by an uninvited guest. "You're Ling Xiao." A cold voice sounded. It was a young man in black with a strangely shaped saber on his back. His face was cold and he exuded an extremely fierce aura. His appearance was very ordinary, but his eyes were incomparably sharp, as if they were blazing sabers. An incomparably powerful saber will emanated from his body, locking onto Ling Xiao in front of him. "I'm Ling Xiao. Who are you?" Ling Xiao frowned as he sensed that the newcomer had ill intentions. "I'm going to kill you. Do you dare to fight me in the arena of life and death?" The young man in black said slowly. "Kill me?" Ling Xiao was slightly taken aback. He did not expect the young man in black to say such a thing. He clearly wanted to kill him and even wanted to fight him in the arena of life and death. However, Ling Xiao did not sense any killing intent from the young man in black. He only felt a wave of anger enveloping him. "Sorry, I'm not interested in fighting you in the arena of life and death. Please move aside." Ling Xiao said indifferently and turned to leave. "You must fight me in the arena of life and death." The young man in black was extremely fast. In a flash, he blocked Ling Xiao's path and said stubbornly, "What? You want to force me?" Ling Xiao said with a faint smile. Killing was prohibited in Candle Dragon Imperial City, but there was indeed an arena of life and death. Only in the arena of life and death could one fight. Otherwise, one would be killed by the Guardian if one fought without permission. He did not expect that someone would want to force him into the arena of life and death. "You must fight me in the arena of life and death. As long as you agree, I can pay any price." The young man in black bit his lips and said in a hoarse voice. There was even a hint of pleading in his voice. Ling Xiao's heart skipped a beat. The young man in black in front of him was at the 6th heaven of the Imperial Emperor realm. He should have cultivated the origin of saber. However, why must he drag him into the arena of life and death? Why must you drag me into the arena of life and death? Don't tell me that you're willing to kneel down and lose your dignity? What? Ling Xiao sneered and said angrily. I can't tell you the reason. However, as long as you fight me in the arena of life and death and let me kill you, I'm willing even if I have to kneel down. The young man in black gritted his teeth. His legs went soft and he knelt down in front of Ling Xiao. Chapter 3144. Ling Xiao was stunned. This was the first time he had seen such an action. The surrounding people were also in disbelief. They had never seen someone begging to enter the arena of life and death. Is there something wrong with this black-clothed young man's head? Ling Xiao's heart skipped a beat. He sent a voice transmission to the black-clothed young man. Is someone forcing you to enter the arena of life and death? Who is it? The 8 dragon monarchs of the Winged Dragon clan? I promise someone that I can't tell them. Now that I've knelt down, you can enter the arena of life and death with me, right? The black-clothed young man replied stubbornly. Ling Xiao couldn't help but roll his eyes. This fellow is really stubborn. However, Ling Xiao had already guessed that the 8 dragon monarchs must be behind this. Perhaps they had something on the black-clothed young man that forced him to challenge Ling Xiao. Thinking of this, Ling Xiao sneered in his heart. All right, I promise you. Get up first. Ling Xiao said indifferently. He needed a saber that was sharp enough to allow him to break through. He hoped that the black-clothed young man's saber was sharp enough. However, Ling Xiao didn't have much hope. Really? Thank you, thank you. The black-clothed young man's eyes were filled with excitement and joy. He quickly stood up and bowed to Ling Xiao. You're welcome. Remember that you're here to kill me. You should at least let me know your name, right? Ling Xiao felt a headache coming on. My name is Ba Dao. The black-clothed young man said seriously. Ba Dao? This name is really domineering. Ling Xiao smiled bitterly. More and more people came to watch the show. Especially when they saw a 6th Heaven Imperial Emperor begging to kill someone on his knees, it piqued the crowd's curiosity. Ling Xiao turned around and walked towards the arena of life and death. However, after a while, he turned around and realized that Ba Dao was still standing there in a daze. Didn't you want to enter the arena of life and death to kill me? Why aren't you leaving? Ling Xiao said angrily. Oh, all right. Ba Dao was a little embarrassed. He seemed a little honest and his arrogance dissipated a little. Ling Xiao almost thought that he had mistaken him for someone else. This fellow? Ling Xiao shook his head. The arena of life and death was located at the center of Candle Dragon Imperial City. It was a vast and boundless space. Rumor had it that it was connected to Candle Dragon Imperial City's aura and was extremely sturdy. Even an extreme Dao Emperor weapon would not be able to damage the arena of life and death. The life and death arena was completely pitch black. It was formed from the blood of countless living beings over countless years, and it emitted a monstrous fiendish aura. Those with weak willpower would feel their legs go soft when they were hit by the fiendish aura. You want to fight in the arena of life and death. 1 million origin pills per person. In front of the life and death arena, a white-haired old man lazily reclined on a recliner as he spoke indifferently. You need origin pills in the arena of life and death? Ling Xiao was slightly taken aback. Of course. Do you think that the arena of life and death doesn't need energy to support it? 1 million origin pills were already the price of cabbages. If you don't have the origin pill, then scram. The white-haired old man said with his eyes closed. Good. Here are 1 million origin pills. Ling Xiao nodded and took out 1 million origin pills. What about yours? The old man glanced at Ba Dao and asked. I don't have origin pills. Ba Dao scratched the back of his head and smiled awkwardly. Then, his gaze landed on Ling Xiao. You don't have origin pills? Without origin pills, you still dare to drag me into the arena of life and death? Don't tell me you want me to give you origin pills? Ling Xiao was so angry that he almost laughed as he glared at Ba Dao. That's for the best. Thank you very much. Ba Dao said to Ling Xiao embarrassedly. The gratitude in his eyes grew stronger. You? Ling Xiao glared at Ba Dao. Ba Dao's face was filled with innocence. Ling Xiao couldn't even vent his anger when faced with such a Ba Dao. Good, good, good. I'll give you 1,000,000 origin pills. Ba Dao, if you're not as strong as I thought, I'll settle the debt with interest. Ling Xiao glared at Ba Dao and said fiercely. For some reason, Ling Xiao didn't feel any anger when faced with someone who wanted to kill him. Instead, he even had a trace of anticipation. Am I being cheap? Ling Xiao thought to himself. He couldn't help but shudder as he hurriedly chased this thought out of his mind. Young Master Ling Xiao, don't worry. I won't hold back. My blade is very fast. I guarantee that you won't feel any pain. Ba Dao said seriously. Then I'll thank you. Ling Xiao said angrily. After that, he leaped into the arena of life and death. He was afraid that if he spoke a few more words with Ba Dao, he would lose his mind due to anger. You're welcome. You're welcome. Ba Dao waved his hand and followed Ling Xiao into the arena of life and death. Zhu Chen and In Yilong sat opposite each other on the 9th floor of a huge 9-story pavilion not far away. In front of them were delicacies and wine. Brother Zhu Chen, can this Ba Dao really kill Ling Xiao? He's only a 6th heaven emperor. I think it's more reliable to find a high-level emperor. In Yilong asked doubtfully. Don't worry. Ba Dao isn't an ordinary person. He's the son of destiny in the saber world. Not only is he born with a saber body, but he also has a pure heart. His attainments in saber Dao are amazing. He once killed 7 high-level imperial monarchs by himself. Zhu Chen said slowly as his eyes were filled with admiration. He killed 7 high-level imperial monarchs in a row by himself? He's actually so strong. Even In Yilong couldn't help but gasp when he heard that. That's right. However, he was unlucky. When he and his sister entered Eternal Emperor Road, they were directly teleported to Burial Desert. They were surrounded by a group of sky burial ants. His sister was even bitten by a sky burial ant. In the end, he went berserk and killed the 7 ant kings of the sky burial ants. When I found him, he brought his sister out of Burial Desert. However, he was already at the end of his rope. I saved them. Zhu Chen said slowly as his voice was filled with emotions. Burial Desert? Sky burial ants? In Yilong's heart skipped a beat. The Sky Burial Desert was a perilous place outside of the Candle Dragon Imperial City. The Sky Burial Ant was the absolute king. It used to be an untainted variant and was extremely powerful. Even a peerless Imperial Emperor might die if he fell into it. This Ba Dao managed to escape with his sister, and even slay the 7 great ant-hive ants? Even In Yilong felt that he was inferior to Ba Dao with such heaven-defying combat strength. You really can't judge a book by its cover. Ba Dao is really powerful. Divine beasts have been running rampant recently. Some chapters may have been blocked. Mu Yu is currently editing them. If you encounter any errors or inconsistencies in the chapters, please delete them from the bookshelf and reload them. You'll be able to see the latest chapters. Chapter 3145. His sister was bitten by the sky-burying ant and was poisoned by the sky-burying poison. Although I managed to control the poison, it's not that easy to get rid of it. I made a deal with him. As long as he helps me kill Ling Xiao, I will save his sister. Zhu Chen said with a smile. Sky-burying poison? Brother Zhu Chen, you can't get rid of the sky-burying poison, right? As far as I know, unless you have condensed the poison origin or your cultivation has reached the Great Emperor realm, you will definitely die after being poisoned by the sky-burying poison. In Yilong said with a frown. That's right. I lied to him. However, he won't be able to escape from me. After he kills Ling Xiao, I will subdue him and make him my most loyal subordinate. Zhu Chen said with a smile. When In Yilong heard this, he felt a little excited. If such a monstrous genius continued to make breakthroughs in his cultivation, he would not be any weaker than those ancient top geniuses. However, In Yilong knew that Ba Dao was not someone he could covet. Brother Zhu Chen, I only want Ling Xiao to die. In Yilong said slowly. As you wish. Zhu Chen said with a smile as he looked at the ring of life and death in the distance. Rumble. In the ring of life and death, blazing lightning rose and the surrounding void trembled violently. Ling Xiao and Ba Dao exuded a vast and terrifying aura at the same time. Ling Xiao's body was surrounded by chaotic light and purple qi spread out for 30,000 miles. His eyes were like lightning and he seemed to be surrounded by the sun, moon and stars. Behind him, a vast scene of the 3,000 world appeared, making him look majestic and mysterious. The reason why Ling Xiao could release such a powerful aura was because of Ba Dao. At this moment, Ba Dao looked like a completely different person. He unsheathed his long saber and held it in his hand. His body exuded an extremely sharp aura and he looked like a peerless divine saber that had just been unsheathed. His eyes were like steel and his face was fierce. The saber essence around him surged and was as vast as the sea. Endless blazing saber radiance flashed around him. A heaven-piercing saber aura appeared behind him and merged with his body. It locked onto Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao, I'm sorry. If I don't kill you, my sister will die. If you have any unfulfilled wishes, you can tell me. I will definitely help you fulfill them. Ba Dao stared at Ling Xiao and said seriously, Are you so confident that you can kill me? Ba Dao, if you can't kill me, then what about your little sister? Ling Xiao said with a faint smile. Ba Dao was full of confidence. He believed that he would definitely be able to kill Ling Xiao in the life and death arena. Ling Xiao's heart was filled with anticipation. Perhaps Ba Dao would be able to give him enough pressure? If I can't kill you and die in your hands, I beg you to save my little sister. Ba Dao has nothing but a saber origin. I'm willing to give it to young master, Ba Dao said earnestly. There was a pleading look in his eyes. Then let's talk after the battle. Ling Xiao shook his head. Was Ba Dao really planning to rely on him? If Ling Xiao could not defeat him, he would die in his hands. If he could defeat him, why would this fellow entrust his sister to Ling Xiao? Come on, the two of us are going to fight to the death. It's not an exaggeration to say that we are enemies. Why do you trust me so much? Ling Xiao's stomach was filled with grievances. In the end, he was filled with fighting spirit. He decided that he would teach this fellow a lesson. Rumble. Ling Xiao's vital energy rose and the chaotic light gushed out. He threw a punch at Ba Dao. The chaotic fist print suppressed the surroundings. It was fierce and unparalleled. No one could withstand its sharpness. This was Ling Xiao's strongest chaotic fist. When it was activated by the primordial immortal body, it could erupt with destructive power. Fight! Ba Dao shouted. His eyes were filled with fighting spirit. Terrifying saber essence surged around him and intertwined in the void. In an instant, it turned into a terrifying saber realm. Swoosh! The black saber in his hand emitted a monstrous ominous aura. It was like a snow-white rainbow. Its speed was so fast that there were explosive sounds in the void. Before the saber arrived, the intent was there first. The terrifying saber essence was soul-stirring. It separated the heavens and the earth. It was as if it could cut everything in front of it into pieces. The snow-white saber slashed down from the sky. Its radiance was extremely dazzling. Rumble! The invincible fist print collided with the fierce saber essence. In an instant, a majestic airwave swept out in all directions. Around Ling Xiao and Ba Dao, a few huge mountains were swept by the terrifying shockwave and instantly exploded. The void shook violently. The terrifying energy was condensed to the extreme and then gushed out in an instant. Ling Xiao and Ba Dao could not help but tremble. They were both sent flying back at the same time. What a pure saber essence! Ling Xiao exclaimed in his heart. The fighting spirit in his eyes was also getting stronger. He suddenly thought of the sword heart saint from the immortal world. He was also born for the sword and had an innate sword body. Unfortunately, his state of mind was not good enough. In the end, he was afraid and died in the hands of Ling Xiao. However, the saber essence of Ba Dao in front of him was even purer. It was as if he was a flying immortal. It was vast and majestic. It was majestic and domineering. Ba Dao had a pure heart. Therefore, he had gone further than the sword heart saint in the saber Dao. Another Dugu Bai? They are not the same. Ling Xiao thought to himself. It was as if he saw the shadow of Duguqiubai in Ba Dao. However, Ba Dao and Duguqiubai were different. Ba Dao was born with a pure heart. He had the luck of the saber realm. He was born with the supreme talent of the saber Dao and was extremely confident in himself. However, Duguqiubai was different. Duguqiubai's talent was only average. However, his comprehension was superb. He had experienced all kinds of things in the mortal world. He had refined his heart and cultivated the sword in his hand. In the end, he had shed the ostentatiousness and left the purity behind to form his own supreme sword Dao. One was born and the other entered the world. However, both of them had reached the pinnacle of their respective Dao of origin. Your physical body is very strong. Young Master Ling Xiao, I won't hold back from now on. Be careful. Ba Dao said in a serious tone. His eyes were filled with strong fighting spirit. When experts fought, they would know each other's strength by testing each other's strength. Ba Dao did not treat Ling Xiao as an ordinary level 3 Imperial Emperor. Instead, he treated Ling Xiao as a real opponent. He wanted to fight with Ling Xiao. Don't hold back. Come at me. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. Kill. Ba Dao shouted. His eyes were filled with killing intent. The saber in his hand shone brighter as he slashed down at Ling Xiao. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Ba Dao's figure instantly split into thousands of figures in the void. Each of them slashed down with a saber. The saber radiance was surging like an endless wave. The terrifying saber essence could not only hurt the physical body. The ominous aura contained within it could also attack the spiritual soul and destroy everything. This was the ultimate killing saber essence. In Ba Dao's hand, a destructive energy fluctuation erupted. Chapter 3146. Rumble. Ling Xiao pushed the sun, moon and stars as he moved forward. His unparalleled chaotic fist print swept across the area. The fist print was vast and unparalleled. It kept colliding with the saber radiance in the sky, creating sounds of metal clashing and sparks flying in all directions. Ling Xiao's primordial immortal body was extremely powerful and had reached the great perfection realm. His bones could even withstand an extreme Dao Emperor weapon. However, Ba Dao's saber intent made Ling Xiao feel cold all over. The saber radiance slashed his body, leaving tiny wounds on his body. Although more saber radiance was shattered by Ling Xiao, Ba Dao's saber radiance was extremely fast. There was actually a scene of space-time distortion, causing Ling Xiao to be unable to completely defend himself. What a fast saber radiance! Ling Xiao exclaimed in his heart. The countless afterimages in the sky were distorted because Ba Dao's saber radiance was too fast. That was why there were countless Ba Dao attacking Ling Xiao at the same time. It was not a divine ability or secret technique, but because Ba Dao's saber radiance was extremely fast. Moreover, Ba Dao's saber intent was extremely sharp and contained a kind of power that could destroy the soul. If Ling Xiao's primordial spirit was not strong enough and was protected by the 28 origin Dao fruits, his indestructible primordial spirit would have been affected by the saber intent. Not to mention, Ba Dao's saber radiance contained a kind of supreme power that could actually contend with Ling Xiao's fist print. It was overbearing and could sweep through and destroy everything. Although Ba Dao was only a 6th heaven Imperial Emperor, he was more terrifying than a high-level Imperial Emperor. Ling Xiao did not doubt that Ba Dao had the combat strength to kill a high-level Imperial Emperor. Someone has actually condensed such an immortal body? At this rate, I'm afraid I won't be able to break through his physical defense at all. Ba Dao thought in his heart. He was extremely shocked. Ling Xiao's chaotic fist print was unparalleled and could destroy everything. Every time they collided, there would be an extremely terrifying divine power that would attack him, causing his arm to feel numb. Most importantly, Ling Xiao's physical body was too strong. His saber radiance was so fast that it could even distort the void. However, it could not cause any fatal damage to Ling Xiao. Even if there were occasional wounds, they would be healed in an instant. It looked like he had the upper hand, but in reality he could sense Ling Xiao's indifference and calmness. Ling Xiao's entire body was like a tortoise's shell, making him feel like he had nowhere to attack. Sky Tyrant slash! Ba Dao shouted. The fighting spirit in his eyes soared to the extreme. Rumble! Endless broadsword will gathered, and the blazing light around him rose. The broadsword in his hand suddenly expanded in the void. Following the slash, it was as if the illusionary figure of a martial monarch had appeared behind him, holding a peerless monarch saber and slashing at Qin Nan. The real and illusory blade light instantly merged into one, turning into an extremely bright blade light. In an instant, it separated the heavens and the earth, causing the space in the arena of life and death to tremble violently. Good timing! Ling Zhao's eyes lit up. The blade contained a majestic martial monarch's aura. It was a supreme martial monarch technique, and its power was unparalleled. Even he felt a strong sense of threat. Ling Zhao took a step forward, hugging the chaotic qi. Divine light surged, and purple qi filled the air. Behind him, chaos opened up, and the mysterious scene of the 3,000 worlds appeared. He threw out a punch, and the unparalleled fist print seemed to have blasted open the river of time. It penetrated through the 3,000 worlds, wanting to destroy all living things and create an epic. This was the epic fist. Ling Zhao's cauldron nurturing scriptures had merged all skills, and finally, he had created a peerless fist technique with his primordial immortal body as the foundation. As soon as the epic fist was thrown out, the heavens and earth changed. The sun and moon dimmed, and the surrounding void trembled. That huge blade light instantly stopped in the void, unable to slash down any further. The unparalleled fist print collided with the blade light, and finally, they were annihilated at the same time. The void distorted, and mysterious runes appeared, supporting the space, preventing it from shattering. That was because the space in the life and death arena was being reinforced. Otherwise, Ling Zhao and Ba Dao's attacks would have shattered the entire void. Boom! Ling Zhao's body was shrouded in chaotic light. He was unparalleled and his eyes were extremely bright. He threw out another punch and the blade light was shattered. The space seemed to be unable to bind Ling Zhao. He took a step forward and appeared in front of Ba Dao. Then he threw out another punch. Ba Dao's eyes suddenly narrowed. The chaotic fist print was already in front of him, and he quickly raised the blade in his hand to block it. Boom! The black battle blade trembled violently, and the light was dazzling. The runes on the blade shook violently, and they exploded one after another. A spiderweb-like crack appeared on the blade. Crack! The black saber emitted a buzzing sound and actually broke apart from the middle. Ba Dao's arm was about to lose feeling, and he was sent flying. Who is Ling Zhao? He is a third heaven emperor, and he is so powerful. Ba Dao is about to be defeated. Outside the life and death arena, the crowd discussed animatedly, and their eyes were filled with shock. Ling Zhao? He is the one who killed the 9th dragon god outside Candle Dragon Imperial City, right? He seems to be related to the Feather Tribe. Although the 8 dragon gods hate him to the core, they can't do anything about it. Someone said, "Killed the 9th dragon god? This guy is really ruthless." Ruthless? I think he is just an idiot. Does he really think that he can do whatever he wants with the Feather Tribe behind him? When the test starts, he will still die in the hands of the 8 dragon gods. That's right, this guy won't live for long. In a restaurant not far away, the smiles on Zhu Chen and Ying Yilong's faces froze. The wine cups in their hands trembled slightly, and the wine spilled out, showing that they were extremely uneasy. Brother Zhu Chen, it seems like Ba Dao won't be able to kill Ling Zhao. Ying Yilong said slowly. Ling Zhao is really powerful, especially his physical body. It is comparable to an ancient beast. I really don't know how he cultivated. However, it is still too early to say that Ba Dao won't be able to kill him. Zhu Chen said. But Ba Dao still has a trump card? Ying Yilong asked. That's right. Ba Dao has yet to unleash his most terrifying power. That saber skill makes me think that an ancient emperor has come back to life. That is the saber skill that killed the 7 great ant kings. Ling Zhao will definitely die. Zhu Chen said with a sigh, and his eyes were filled with emotions. The saber skill that killed the 7 great ant kings? Ying Yilong's body trembled, and his heart was filled with anticipation. Seeing how powerful Ling Xiao was, the killing intent in his heart grew stronger. On the Eternal Emperor Road, the growth of those monstrous geniuses was simply unbelievable. He had no doubt that if Ling Xiao was allowed to grow, he would become a huge threat to the 8 dragon gods one day. Chapter 3147. Rumble. Ba Dao's aura was extremely sharp as he held a broken saber in his hand. His eyes were filled with fighting spirit as he charged towards Ling Xiao. Although his saber was broken, the saber intent in his heart was blazing. The Tyrant Emperor's slash was a supreme emperor technique. Although it was destroyed by Ling Xiao's epic fist, Ba Dao's emperor's aura intertwined as his extreme Dao force rose. Vast origin source Dao circled around him like a dazzling galaxy. He executed an extreme Dao emperor technique, and his origin source Dao turned into a sharp saber radiance as he slashed towards Ling Xiao. He could feel Ling Xiao's strength, so his attacks became even more ferocious. Great! Ling Xiao's fighting spirit rose when he sensed the wild and violent saber intent from Ba Dao's body. His eyes were dazzling. His vital energy rose as a baleful aura filled the air. Chaotic light circled around his body as he activated the primordial immortal body to the extreme. He formed an invincible fist seal and swept it out continuously. It was like a chaotic divine mountain that soared into the sky and annihilated everything. The great pressure that Ba Dao brought to him caused his aura to condense to the extreme. His cultivation started to break through to the 4th heaven of the Imperial Emperor realm. This was the sublimation of an extreme battle. Ling Xiao needed a great battle to his heart's content in order to push his Dao of origin to the limit and then break through. Ba Dao did it. Regardless of why Ba Dao attacked him, Ling Xiao treated Ba Dao as his most respectable opponent and fought with all his might. Rumble. Ling Xiao's figure and Ba Dao clashed in the void. Every attack seemed to be able to destroy the heavens and earth as powerful fluctuations erupted. Blazing saber radiance rose. Although they were separated by the ring of life and death, the crowd still felt a chill run down their spines. The vast, masculine, overbearing, and majestic saber intent was like the heavenly might, causing everyone's hearts to tremble. They could not imagine how much pressure they would have to endure if they faced the saber intent head-on. Kill, kill, kill. Ba Dao shouted 3 times in a row. His killing intent surged as his eyes blazed with dazzling light. It was as if some kind of shackle in his body had been broken. Surging saber intent filled the air as if it was going to break the heavens and earth and return the heavens to chaos. He held a broken saber in his hand as if the ancient saber emperor had come back to life. He exuded a powerful aura that could destroy the universe and slaughter all gods and demons. Clang, clang, clang. The saber radiance was dazzling radiance as if it was the heavenly river. Boundless chaotic light soared as Ling Xiao performed the Fist of Epic and the Fist of Fortune. The first fist restarted the epic and destroyed everything. The second fist created the heavens and gave birth to life. The intertwining of life and death seemed to form a vast and mysterious Taiji diagram. The endless saber lights slashed at his body, but were easily neutralized by him. However, Ling Xiao was already attacking with all his strength. Facing an opponent like Ba Dao, he had to fight with all his strength. In Ling Xiao's sea of consciousness, the 28 origin Dao fruits intertwined into a mysterious light that enveloped Ling Xiao. The surging saber intent of the tyrant saber did not seem to be able to harm him. Domineering blade, this level of saber intent is not enough to kill me. Ling Xiao said loudly as his eyes shone brightly. Domineering blade was giving him a lot of pressure. He was about to break through. However, Ling Xiao felt that it was not enough. He needed to add fuel to the fire. Ling Xiao could feel that there was still a terrifying power in Domineering Blade's body. It made his heart palpitate. That might be Domineering Blade's ultimate strength. Is it not enough? Young Master Ling Xiao, although I don't want to kill you, I can only offend you for my sister. You have to be careful. I might not even be able to control myself. Ba Dao's eyes flashed with a hint of struggle. In the end, he said seriously to Ling Xiao, "Bring it on. If you can kill me, it's because I'm not as strong as you. I won't blame you." Ling Xiao said, the light in his eyes blazing. It was the kind of light that one would get when they see a prey. Rumble. Ling Xiao felt the blood in his body start to boil. Purple chi surged, and chaotic light rose. His aura had reached the peak of the third heaven of the Imperial Emperor realm. Avicii Hell, Demon Burial Saber. Domineering Blade uttered an extremely obscure syllable. His eyes instantly turned into a strange black and white color. Endless terrifying demonic aura surged out of his body. His killing intent surged, and his aura changed drastically. He was like a demon god that had sunk into hell. His surroundings were filled with death, violence, cruelty, and terror. It was as if he could destroy everything. The 7 syllables seemed to be able to resonate with heaven and earth. The space in the arena of life and death trembled violently. A black saber light condensed behind Domineering Blade. It was as black as ink, as if it was poured with demonic blood. When Ling Xiao saw the black saber light, he instantly felt goosebumps all over his body. His eyes were filled with shock. How can there be such a terrifying saber intent in this world? Ling Xiao's heart trembled. Such madness, violence, bloodthirstiness, and death aura seemed to have surpassed any other power. Even a great emperor would be buried in this saber intent. Even the sword intent of the 4 great divine swords and the 4 great divine techniques, which were known to be the most lethal, could not compare to this saber intent. Rumble. Domineering Blade was like an ancient demon god. With the black saber light in his hand, he slashed down at Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao felt chills all over his body. Before the saber and saber intent arrived, he felt as if his body was about to shatter. His body would definitely not be able to withstand this saber. I will die. Ling Xiao suddenly had such a thought. He felt as if his body had frozen. He could only watch as Domineering Blade slashed down at him. Is this the saber skill that killed the 7 great ant kings? How can it be so terrifying? Ying Yilong's body trembled. His face was extremely pale. He stood up abruptly, and his eyes were filled with disbelief. This saber skill, what do you think of? Zhu Chen said slowly, and there was a tinge of fear in his eyes. You mean, the forbidden saber? Ying Yilong's body trembled as he exclaimed. That's right. On the Eternal Emperor Road, legend has it that the forbidden saber will appear every time it opens. It has appeared again. Zhu Chen said, and there was a tinge of fanaticism in his eyes. With such a forbidden saber, Ling Xiao will definitely die. Congratulations, Brother Zhu Chen, for being able to obtain the forbidden saber. It is definitely the sharpest saber. Ying Yilong said slowly, and there was a tinge of envy in his eyes. No, I won't die. This is just an illusion. No one can kill me, not even the heavens. In the arena of life and death, Ling Xiao suddenly opened his eyes. Chapter 3148. Boom. An extremely terrifying aura erupted from his body. Blazing divine light rose and terrifying energy filled the air. Chaotic light surged and swept across the land. His cultivation instantly broke through to the peak of the 3rd heaven of the Imperial Emperor realm and reached the 4th heaven. At this moment, Ba Tian's saber was already in front of him. Boom! Ling Xiao stomped on the ground and his blood energy rose. He grabbed the black saber light with both hands and a blazing chaotic light pillar gathered around him and shot up into the sky. Starting from Ling Xiao's hands, spiderweb-like cracks instantly appeared on his body. His life force receded like the tide. His body was like a withered flower, withering in an instant. Then, all of his flesh and blood scattered like ashes, vanishing into thin air. Clang! That black blade light tore through Ling Xiao's flesh and blood, intertwining with his knuckles and exploding with a blazing flame. Then, in an instant, Ling Xiao's entire body was submerged. Extremely terrifying killing intent surged, and a storm of death swept across everything as if it wanted to annihilate all vitality. Ba Dao was the only one left in the arena of life and death. He was still in the posture of attacking. Such a terrifying scene shocked everyone. Is Ling Xiao dead? Everyone had the same question in their minds. He should be dead. Ba Dao's saber essence is too terrifying. It's not something that Ling Xiao can withstand. Someone said with uncertainty. The forbidden saber. Rumor has it that the forbidden saber is related to the secret of transcendence. It's very likely that it's a saber technique left behind by a transcendent. A saber technique that can destroy an extreme emperor's aura is indeed terrifying. Ying Yilong exclaimed. At this moment, he was extremely glad that he had chosen Zhu Chen. Ling Zhao's strength was beyond his imagination. However, he still died under the forbidden saber in the end. That's just a legend. For the past 108 eras, the forbidden saber has appeared every time the Eternal Emperor Road opens. However, I've never heard of anyone obtaining the secret of transcendence. Zhu Chen smiled faintly. However, this era is different. This era is the beginning of the immeasurable calamity. The secret of transcendence will definitely appear. If Brother Zhu Chen subdues this person, he might really obtain the secret of transcendence. Ying Yilong shook his head. He was extremely envious of Zhu Chen. Zhu Chen was really lucky to have encountered a taboo blade. Legend had it that the taboo saber could even slay a great emperor. Once Ba Dao grew to his peak, who could stop him? Perhaps only the other taboo sabers or the most powerful ancient prodigies would be able to contend against it. Not good, Ling Xiao didn't die. Just as Zhu Chen was about to say something, his expression suddenly changed and a look of disbelief appeared in his eyes. Ying Yilong's body trembled as he hurriedly looked towards the life and death arena. How is this possible? He opened his mouth wide, and his body trembled as he spoke with great difficulty. On the life and death arena, the light that filled the sky dissipated, revealing Ling Zhao's figure. At this moment, Ling Xiao looked incomparably miserable. All the flesh and blood on his body had disappeared, leaving behind only a crystal-clear skeleton that emitted an indestructible light. The black blade light stopped where Ling Zhao's hands were, as if it wanted to pierce through his heart. However, it was firmly blocked by Ling Zhao's fingers and finally dissipated. The Avicii Hell Demon's burial blade had buried Ling Zhao's flesh and blood, but it had not buried his bones. Ling Xiao had survived. In his heart, a majestic life origin spurted out, causing his flesh and blood that had disappeared to instantly grow back. However, Ling Zhao's face looked extremely pale as if his vitality had been greatly damaged. What a terrifying Avicii Hell Demon's burial blade! Ling Xiao sighed in his heart. He knew that in a sense, he was considered to have lost. This was because if his bones had not merged with the two chaotic treasures, he would definitely not have been able to block the blade and would have died. The chaotic treasures had given him indestructible bones, which was why he could block the Avicii Hell Demon's burial blade. However, Ling Xiao was still severely injured. His cultivation that had just broken through to the fourth heaven of Imperial Emperor Realm almost fell back to the third heaven of Imperial Emperor Realm. Ba Dao spat out a mouthful of blood, and his face was extremely pale. He was on the verge of collapsing, and his eyes were extremely dim. But I still lost. His voice was low, and there was even a trace of despair. Although he had obtained the power to destroy the world after using the Avicii Hell Demon's burial blade, the backlash to his body was also extremely great. At this moment, he no longer had any strength to continue fighting. Just like when he had killed the 7 great ant kings in Burial Desert, he was now in a state where he was like a lamp that had run out of oil. It did not matter if he died because he had lost to Ling Xiao, but his sister. When he thought of this, Ba Dao hurriedly raised his head and looked at Ling Xiao with a pleading gaze. He said, "Young Master Ling Xiao, I know that I have wronged you. So, feel free to kill me. I have no complaints at all. I only beg you to save my sister. She's innocent." It was as if he had used up all the strength in his body to say this. He stared at Ling Xiao with bloodshot eyes. He looked as if he would not die in peace if Ling Xiao did not agree. "Why should I kill you?" Ling Xiao said indifferently. His words caused Ba Dao to be stunned. "You won't kill me? This is the ring of life and death. We're fighting." Ba Dao stuttered. Must you kill someone in the ring of life and death? Although you have offended me, I can see that your nature is not bad. So, I don't intend to kill you. Ling Xiao said with a smile. Ba Dao's eyes reddened, and his eyes were filled with gratitude. He did not expect that there would be such a righteous person on the Eternal Emperor's road. This young master Ling Xiao was so righteous. That saber technique just now was not ordinary. Moreover, Ba Dao is also a talent. If I can subdue him and learn that saber technique in an instant, it will be a great help to me. Ling Xiao thought to himself as he looked at Ba Dao. But how can I subdue him? Perhaps I can start with his sister? Ling Xiao's heart skipped a beat. Ba Dao did not know what Ling Xiao was thinking. Otherwise, he might not be so grateful. Ba Dao, can you tell me now why you want to drag me into the ring of life and death? Ling Xiao waved his hand. Suddenly, a barrier enveloped the two of them, preventing people outside the ring of life and death from spying on them. Young Master Ling Xiao, young Master Zhu Chen asked me to kill you. He seems to have accepted a request from the 8 great dragon kings. If I don't kill you, he won't save my sister. Ba Dao said slowly. Young Master Zhu Chen? 8 great dragon kings? Ling Xiao frowned slightly. Chapter 3149. That's right. Young Master Zhu Chen is the pride of the Illumination Dragon tribe and the great-grandson of the Guardian. His power in the Illumination Dragon Imperial City is second only to the Guardian. My sister and I met him by accident. My sister was poisoned with heaven burial poison and young Master Zhu Chen said that he could cure her but the condition was to kill you. Ba Dao said slowly, and he explained the entire situation to him. Heaven burial poison? Ling Xiao's heart skipped a beat. Master, heaven burial poison is the poison in the heaven burial ant's body. It's extremely terrifying and even an emperor would die without a doubt. However, Zhu Chen was boasting when he said that he could cure heaven burial poison. Unless he condensed the poison origin or broke through to the great emperor realm, he would not be able to cure heaven burial poison. He was lying to this silly boy. The evil spirit's voice rang in Ling Xiao's heart. In that case, I still have to be the one to cure heaven burial poison? Looks like I have no choice but to take this boy in. Ling Xiao chuckled in his heart. That's right. Master, although this silly boy looks silly, you must take him in. He cultivates the forbidden saber which is related to the secret of transcendence. If you take him in, you will have hope of finding the secret of transcendence. The evil spirit said. Forbidden saber? The secret of transcendence? Ling Xiao was stunned. What was this forbidden saber? The forbidden saber is a saber technique. Legend has it that it was left behind by a transcendent. It can destroy the extreme emperor aura and is extremely powerful. It is related to the secret of transcendence. Forbidden sabers have appeared when the Eternal Emperor Road opened in the past. The Avicii Hell Demon's burial saber that this boy cultivates is one of the forbidden sabers. The evil spirit explained. I see. Ling Xiao nodded and said. It was no wonder that the Avicii Hell Demon's burial saber was so terrifying. When Ba Dao used it, he seemed to have transformed into an ancient chaotic divine demon. It turned out that it was a forbidden saber. Ling Xiao's heart burned with passion. Ba Dao, I can cure your sister's heaven burial poison. Zhu Chen was lying to you. He can't cure heaven burial poison. Ling Xiao looked at Ba Dao and said seriously. What? Ba Dao's body trembled as a look of disbelief appeared in his eyes. The space between Ling Xiao's eyebrows shone brightly. The poison origin Dao fruit flew out. It shone with a mysterious light, containing the strongest poison in the world. It was incomparably terrifying. Poison origin? Ba Dao exclaimed in surprise. That's right. It's the origin of poison. You may not know that the heaven burial poison can only be detoxified by the origin of poison. Zhu Chen doesn't cultivate the origin of poison. In this Candle Dragon Imperial City, there's almost no one who cultivates the origin of poison, right? So he must be lying to you. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. Damn it. Ba Dao's expression was somewhat unsightly, and a trace of anger appeared in his eyes. Only then did he realize that he had been used by Zhu Qin. Young Master Ling Xiao, not only are you not going to kill me, but you're also going to save my sister. What do you want from me? A Vichy infernal demon-bearing saber? Ba Dao took a deep look at Ling Xiao, as if he had become smarter. A Vichy infernal demon-bearing blade, are you willing to give it to me? Ling Xiao smiled faintly and said without denying it. If you can save my sister, not to mention the Avicii infernal demon-bearing blade, I'll give you anything you want. Unfortunately, the Avicii infernal demon-bearing blade is a gift from heaven, and I can't pass it to you. Ba Dao said with a bitter smile. A gift from heaven? The smile on Ling Xiao's face was a little forced. Master, the Avicii infernal demon-bearing blade is a forbidden blade. The blade skill has a spirit and can choose its own master. It can't be passed to anyone else. The evil spirit said. Bastard, why didn't you say so earlier? Ling Xiao rebuked in his heart. However, he didn't show it on his face. He smiled proudly and said to Ba Dao, why would I covet your blade skill? Don't worry, I don't want the Avicii infernal demon-bearing blade. I just think that your combat strength is not bad, and I want you to be my protector. Are you willing? Ling Xiao spoke his mind directly. Ba Dao had a pure heart and didn't hold anything back from him. If this continued, he would really be a villain in vain. He might as well express his intentions directly. Young Master Ling Xiao, as long as you can cure my sister of the heaven burial poison, I'm willing to be your follower. Ba Dao said seriously after taking a deep look at Ling Xiao. After he finished speaking, he immediately knelt on one knee to show his allegiance to Ling Xiao. I'm talking about protectors, not followers. You and I can call each other brothers. There's no need for so many formalities. Brother, please get up. Ling Xiao was laughing in his heart, but he didn't show it on his face. He quickly helped Ba Dao up. Hypocrite, too hypocritical. The evil spirit rolled his eyes and criticized in his heart. Thank you, big brother. Ba Dao said gratefully. That's right. Where's your sister? Let's go and cure her now. Ling Xiao said with a smile. My sister is in Zhu Chen's residence now. Big brother, please follow me. Ba Dao said quickly. Zhu Chen's residence? Ling Xiao's heart skipped a beat. Zhu Chen wouldn't hand over Ba Dao's sister so easily, right? In the restaurant, they saw that Ling Xiao was still alive and had even set up a barrier to protect Ling Xiao and Ba Dao. Zhu Chen and Ying Yilong's hearts skipped a beat. They had a bad feeling about this. Brother Zhu Chen, could it be that Ling Xiao wants to kill Ba Dao? Ying Yilong asked. I don't think so. If he wants to kill Ba Dao, why would he need to set up a barrier? I'm just afraid that he has also seen the forbidden saber on Ba Dao's body. Zhu Chen's face was no longer as calm and indifferent as before. Instead, it became extremely gloomy and his expression was extremely ugly. You're saying that he's also after Ba Dao? Ying Yilong's heart skipped a beat. It's very possible. Ba Dao is mine. I'd like to see what kind of bear's heart and leopard's guts did he eat to dare to snatch someone from me. Zhu Chen suddenly stood up and closed the folding fan in his hand. His eyes were filled with a terrifying light. He turned around and walked toward the arena of life and death. Ying Yilong quickly chased after him. When Ling Xiao and Ba Dao left the arena of life and death, it caused a commotion among the crowd. They looked at the two of them with reverence in their eyes. At this moment, no one dared to look down on them. It was as if everyone had already ignored their cultivation and acknowledged their unparalleled combat strength. After all, the great battle just now had made everyone addicted to it. However, the crowd was puzzled. Why did Ling Xiao not kill Ba Dao? Ba Dao. When Zhu Chen saw Ba Dao and Ling Xiao walk out side by side, a sharp light flashed in his eyes. However, he immediately revealed a gentle smile and called out softly. Young Master Zhu Chen. Ba Dao cupped his hands at Zhu Chen. No matter what, it was Zhu Chen who had stabilized his sister's injuries. Otherwise, his sister would have been dead. Although Zhu Chen had lied to him, he was still very grateful to Zhu Chen. Ba Dao, although you've lost this battle, it doesn't matter. Victory and defeat are common in war. Just win the next time. I've already found an expert. Come back with me. I'll ask the expert to cure your sister's poison. Zhu Chen smiled faintly. He did not even look at Ling Xiao. He stepped forward naturally and held Ba Dao's hand. Chapter 3150. Ba Dao took a step back and avoided Zhu Chen's hand. Zhu Chen's face turned a little ugly. Brother Ba Dao, what's the meaning of this? Zhu Chen suppressed the anger in his heart and spoke in an extremely gentle manner. Master Zhu Chen, thank you for taking care of my sister these days. Master Ling Xiao has promised to cure my sister, so there's no need to trouble you. Ba Dao said seriously. Him. Zhu Chen was enraged. His worries had come true. This Ling Xiao actually had designs on Ba Dao. Ridiculous. How can he cure heaven's burial poison? Brother Ba Dao, don't be fooled by him. I'm the only one in the entire Candle Dragon Imperial City who can save your sister. Zhu Chen said coldly with anger in his eyes. He could no longer hold it in. Master Zhu Chen, how are you going to save my sister? Ba Dao asked seriously. To cure heaven's burial poison, you have to gather the poison origin to cure it. I've found an expert who will come to Candle Dragon Imperial City in a few days. He'll be able to save your sister then. Zhu Chen said with a proud smile. But Master Ling Xiao has gathered the poison origin. Ba Dao said seriously and pointed at Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. The light in his palm shone brightly. Suddenly, the poison fruit of Tao flew out. It shone with a strange light and emitted a powerful poison light. What? Zhu Chen was dumbfounded. He completely did not think that Ling Xiao actually really possessed the poison origin. But how was that possible? Zhu Chen's face instantly darkened. He had done everything he could to subdue Ba Dao and even used Ba Dao's sister as a bargaining chip. However, because of Ling Xiao, all his plans were in vain. His heart was filled with murderous intent. He could not wait to kill Ling Xiao now. I can't kill him now. Not only is his combat strength extraordinary, but he also has many trump cards. Although the Candle Dragon tribe is respected in Candle Dragon Imperial City, we're bound by the heavenly way. If I attack recklessly, I'm afraid I'll be devoured by the heavenly way. Zhu Chen thought to himself. The Torch Dragon Imperial City's test was getting closer and closer. The Torch Dragon clan was not the one who made the rules. At best, they were the guardians of the rules. Only the Heavenly Tao was the one who made the rules. If they went against the Heavenly Tao, they would probably end up in an incomparably miserable state. However, if he were to let Ling Xiao and Ba Dao off just like that, then he wouldn't be able to vent the resentment in his heart. Moreover, with Ling Xiao and Ba Dao's formidable combat strength, if they were to join forces, then it would probably be even more difficult to keep them in check. Ba Dao, are you sure you want Ling Xiao to cure your sister? Although he has condensed the essence of poison, he might not be able to cure the poison in your sister's body. Zhu Chen said expressionlessly. That's right. I believe in young Master Ling Xiao. Ba Dao said seriously. After hearing Ba Dao's words, Zhu Chen's heart burned with jealousy. He sneered and said, Very well. Since you want to follow Ling Xiao, I won't force you. But after all, I was the one who saved you and your sister. If you just leave like this, I'm afraid it's a little unkind, right? Ba Dao frowned slightly. Although he had risked his life to bring his sister out of Burial Desert and killed the 7 great ant kings, he was already at the end of his rope. Although it couldn't be said that Zhu Chen had saved them, if Zhu Chen hadn't brought them back to Zhulong Imperial City, they probably wouldn't have survived on the dangerous Eternal Emperor Road. Young Master Zhu Chen, do you want me to repay you? Ba Dao said slowly. That's right. I, Zhu Chen, am not someone who likes to help others. If you were to follow me, then so be it. However, since you've chosen to follow Ling Xiao, then don't blame me for demanding repayment. Zhu Chen said indifferently. What do you want? Ling Xiao asked indifferently. Don't worry, I won't ask for too much. I saved the 2 of you, so I want 200 billion origin pills. That's not too much, right? Zhu Chen said with a faint smile. 2 trillion origin pills? The surrounding trial challengers and sky prides couldn't help but gasp. This number was absolutely terrifying. After all, most of the trial challengers and sky prides only carried 1,000,000,000,000 origin pills with them. In the universe, 1,000,000,000,000 origin pills wasn't something that an Emperor Realm expert could casually take out. 2,000,000,000,000 origin pills, a total of 20 origin pill rivers. However, when the crowd thought of Ba Dao's terrifying combat strength, it was reasonable for Zhu Chen to ask for 2,000,000,000,000 origin pills since he had saved him and his sister. "I don't have any origin pills," Ba Dao said with a bitter smile. All of his origin pills had been consumed in Burial Desert. Otherwise, he wouldn't have no origin pills for the life and death ring. 2,000,000,000,000 origin pills? Alright, I'll pay. Ling Xiao said slowly as he looked deeply at Zhu Chen. Swoosh. With a wave of his sleeve, 20 origin source elixir rivers appeared in the sky, exuding boundless origin source energy. They were vast and unparalleled. Zhu Chen's eyes flashed as he collected the 20 origin elixir rivers in an instant. There was a faint smile in his eyes. Young Master Ling Xiao is indeed generous. For Ba Dao, you actually took out 2,000,000,000,000 origin pills without batting an eyelid. I'm impressed. Ling Xiao said faintly, "You've taken the origin pills. Now, can you hand Ba Dao's sister over to us?" "Don't worry. I, Zhu Chen, am a man of my word." Zhu Chen smiled faintly. His palm glowed brightly, and a sky-blue ice bed appeared. A beautiful girl was lying on top of it. She was surrounded by mist, as if she had been sealed in ice. I'll kindly remind you that she has been frozen by my secret technique. It has temporarily blocked the invasion of the burial heaven poison in her body. If you want to detoxify her, you have to do it within 30 minutes. Otherwise, the burial heaven poison will completely contaminate her primordial spirit and physical body. At that time, even a great emperor won't be able to save her. Zhu Chen said faintly. With a wave of his hand, the ice bed flew toward Ba Dao. He then turned and left. Everyone felt that it was boring, and they dispersed one after another. They originally thought that since Ling Xiao had appeared in front of Zhu Chen wouldn't let Ling Xiao go and there would be a good show to watch. However, they didn't expect Zhu Chen to let Ling Xiao go so easily. "Tong Tong, I will cure you." Ba Dao looked as though he had received a treasure. He carefully hugged the ice bed and his eyes were filled with love. "There are too many people here. Follow me," Ling Xiao said faintly. He returned to Fortune Building. Behind Fortune Building was an exquisite courtyard. It also operated restaurants and inns. However, it was expensive and ordinary people couldn't afford to stay there. Ling Xiao directly booked a courtyard and brought Ba Dao into the courtyard. Then he set up a barrier and enveloped the courtyard. Chapter 3151. Put her down. Ling Xiao said calmly. "Okay." Ba Dao nodded and quickly put the ice bed down. "Next, I'll detoxify her. You protect me." Ling Xiao said to Ba Dao. "Don't worry, big brother. Whoever dares to barge in will have to ask my blade first." Ba Dao's eyes flashed with a sharp light. Ling Xiao nodded. Then, a blazing flame rose from his palm and landed on the ice bed. Boom! On the ice bed, a majestic white gas rose up, and the frost that sealed the girl's body instantly dissipated. Ling Xiao saw an extremely hideous scar on the girl's arm. It was as if she had been bitten by some kind of strange beast. The black poisonous fog around the scar made it look extremely hideous. At this moment, the ice had disappeared. The black poisonous fog instantly spread into the girl's body. The black poisonous fog seemed to be very intelligent. It was extremely fast and rushed toward the girl's heart and primordial spirit. Buzz. The space between Ling Xiao's eyebrows glowed brightly. The poison origin Dao fruit flew out instantly and floated above the girl, sprinkling down multicolored light. The colorful light seemed to contain the most poisonous and evil power, but it also exuded the most pure and yang aura. Instantly, the speed at which the black poisonous fog spread in the girl's body became extremely slow. Swoosh. At this moment, Xiao Jin, who had turned into a bracelet on Ling Xiao's wrist, seemed to have smelled something delicious. His eyes were filled with excitement and he instantly rushed up like a bolt of golden lightning. Xiao Jin lay on the girl's arm. Golden light shone around him as the black poisonous fog merged into his body. The heaven burial poison in the girl's body was extremely fierce. However, under the dual effects of the origin of poison Dao fruit and Shao Jin, it quickly disappeared without a trace. Ling Shao heaved a sigh of relief. Although the heaven burial poison was fierce, the origin of poison Dao fruit was indeed its nemesis. Boom. However, at this moment, there was a sudden change. Suddenly, black runes rose from the girl's body and intertwined to form divine chains of order. Like a mysterious and powerful curse power, they instantly enveloped the girl's body. Originally, the majestic life origin in the girl's body was surging and she was about to wake up. However, at this moment she fainted again. Not good. Ling Zhao's eyes shone brightly. Boom. He performed a double-handed incantation gesture, and a bright light shone from his forehead. Another Dao fruit flew out and imprinted itself onto the girl's forehead like a powerful talisman. What happened? Ba Dao's expression changed drastically. His eyes were filled with worry. She's been tampered with, and a curse has been laid in her body. As long as the heaven burial poison is removed, the power of the curse will flare up. Ling Shao said quickly, but the speed at which his hands were forming seals was getting faster and faster. The Dao fruit was a heavenly curse Dao fruit. It contained the power of curse origin and was mysterious and unfathomable. It constantly devoured the curse runes in the girl's body. Curse! It was Yu Chen. Why would he do that? Why? Ba Dao's body shook violently. His eyes were filled with disbelief as he let out a shrill roar. Don't worry, I can break this curse. Light flickered in Ling Zhao's eyes. Vast and boundless origin energy surged out from his body, rapidly surging towards the girl. As the heaven curse Dao fruit's power grew stronger and stronger, the curse runes in the girl's body began to shatter. Young Master Zhu Chen, although 2 trillion origin pills is a lot, it's nothing compared to Ba Dao, right? Have you really decided to let them go? Ing Yilong asked in confusion. They had already returned to the central region of the Torch Dragon Imperial City, the Torch Dragon tribe's residence. Ing Yilong did not expect Zhu Chen to let Ling Shao and Ba Dao off so easily. Let them go? How is that possible? Zhu Chen smiled faintly. His eyes were filled with a vicious light. 2 trillion origin pills. Not only is it to calm the hearts of the masses and let them know that the Illumination Dragon tribe has always been fair and just, upholding the righteousness of the heavenly Dao. More importantly, it is to deplete the origin pills on Ling Shao. One must know that on the Eternal Emperor Road, losing an origin pill is equivalent to losing everything. Ing Yilong shuddered and quickly asked, does that mean that Brother Zhu Chen already has a plan? That's right. I've already tampered with Ba Dao's sister's body. No one can break the curse that I set. Unless Ling Shao has also condensed the curse origin, Ba Dao can only come back obediently and beg me in the end. Zhu Chen said with a cold smile. Brother Zhu Chen is brilliant. When we kill Ling Shao in the Torch Dragon Imperial City's test, Ba Dao can only come back obediently and beg you. At that time, this taboo saber will still be yours. Ing Yilong said with a smile. 3 days later, I will make sure that Ling Shao dies without a burial ground. I've already made the arrangements. Brother Ing, you 8 dragon lords will have to help too. Zhu Chen said slowly. Don't worry. Brother Zhu Chen, we can't wait any longer. Ling Shao must die. Ing Yilong said with a sinister smile. Rumble. However, at this moment, there seemed to be a muffled explosion. Zhu Chen shuddered and suddenly seemed to have thought of something. A light flashed in his palm and a curse ball appeared. Strange runes intertwined on it and it looked very strange. However, at this moment, there were already cracks on the intertwined runes and they dimmed. In the end, they shattered with a loud bang. The curse in Ba Dao's sister's body has been broken? How is this possible? Zhu Chen's face was filled with disbelief and his eyes instantly became extremely gloomy. Even the power of curses can be broken? How is this possible? Could it be that Ling Shao has condensed the curse origin source? Ing Yilong said in disbelief. It's not impossible. Have you forgotten about that group of people? Zhu Chen said slowly with a tinge of shock and fear in his eyes. You mean, the robbers? Ing Yilong shuddered and exclaimed in shock. In the courtyard behind the fortune tower, Ling Xiao took a deep breath and the poison origin source and curse origin source flew back into his mind between his eyebrows. Brother Ba Dao, fortunately, I did not disappoint you. The heaven burial poison and the curse in your sister's body have been broken. Ling Xiao said with a smile. Ba Dao's body trembled, and his eyes were filled with gratitude. Boom! He took a step forward and knelt in front of Ling Xiao. Brother, thank you for saving my sister. Ba Dao's voice was choked with sobs. Brother, what's wrong? Right at this moment, a clear and slightly weak voice sounded. Chapter 3152. Tong Tong. Ba Dao's body trembled. His eyes were filled with surprise as he quickly turned around. The young girl was dressed in a white dress and had already stood up. Her figure was tall and slender, and her skin was snow-white. Although she still looked a little weak, as if she had just recovered from a serious illness, her eyes were very bright, as if they contained a mysterious vortex that could see through everything. Brother, who is this? Seeing Ba Dao kneeling in front of Ling Xiao, the girl's eyes were filled with confusion. You're Tong Tong, right? I'm Ba Dao's sworn brother. Ling Xiao smiled as he helped Ba Dao up. Ba Dao's eyes were filled with gratitude. He then nodded and said, That's right. Tong Tong, this is my big brother. He was the one who cured you of the heaven burial poison. Zhu Chen, that shameless bastard, is too insidious. He actually cursed you. Ba Dao recounted everything that had happened after Tong Tong had fainted. Is he such a person? Tong Tong frowned slightly. She then looked at Ling Xiao seriously and said, Thank you, brother Ling Xiao. You're welcome. You're Ba Dao's little sister, so you're my little sister. Ling Xiao said with a smile. Brother Ling Xiao, Zhu Chen cursed me. I'm afraid he's going to deal with you and my brother in the end. Tong Tong said slowly with a strange light in her eyes. Tong Tong, what did you see? Ba Dao asked with a trace of anger in his eyes. Previously he was extremely grateful to Zhu Chen. However, ever since he knew that Zhu Chen had cursed Tong Tong, he was completely enraged. He could not wait to kill Zhu Chen and interrogate him. Zhu Chen first asked for 2 trillion origin pills to deplete brother Ling Xiao's stock of origin pills. After all, an ordinary trial tester only has 1 trillion origin pills at most. He cursed me to keep brother Ling Xiao in check and prevent brother Ling Xiao from helping brother Ling Xiao. In order to get rid of the curse, brother Ling Xiao had to beg Zhu Chen. If I'm not wrong, Zhu Chen doesn't want to kill brother Ling Xiao in Candle Dragon Imperial City. However, in the Candle Dragon Imperial City test 3 days later, he'll definitely try to kill brother Ling Xiao. Tong said slowly with a wisp of wisdom in her eyes. How dare he? Ba Dao's eyes flashed with a cold light. Zhu Chen is the great-grandson of the Guardian. There's nothing he wouldn't dare to do for your forbidden saber. But I'm very curious, how will he deal with me after 3 days? Ling Xiao smiled faintly. Brother Ling Xiao, it's not just because my brother is a taboo saber. Most importantly, it's because you're the chosen one. It's because of the providence in your body. Tong Tong looked at Ling Xiao and said. Ling Xiao gave Tong Tong a meaningful glance, showing a trace of surprise in his eyes. He didn't think that Tong Tong would see through his disguise so quickly. There's something wrong with her eyes. Ling Xiao's heart skipped a beat. In Tong Tong's eyes, there seemed to be a river of stars flowing, the passage of time, the transformation of space, and the mysterious scenes of the birth and destruction of worlds. It was dazzling and resplendent, as if it could see through everything. It made people unable to help but sink into it with a single glance. This was clearly an extremely terrifying eye technique. Big brother, Tong Tong has the eye of the heavenly Tao, so I can see that you're the chosen one. Speaking of which, if it wasn't for Tong Tong's eye of the heavenly Tao, we wouldn't have been able to escape Burial Desert. Ba Dao explained when he saw that Ling Xiao was a little confused. The eye of the heavenly Tao? Ling Xiao's heart skipped a beat. The eye of the heavenly Tao was said to be able to see through the heavens, illuminate the myriad of worlds, and see through everything. The eye of the heavenly Tao was said to be the #1 eye technique in the heavens. It was blessed by the heavens and was formed naturally. It was mysterious and powerful. Those who possessed the eye of the heavenly Tao were born with the providence of the heavens and were extremely heaven-defying. This was different from Ling Zhao's eye of the ruler. Ling Zhao's eye of the ruler was formed by unintentionally merging the 4 origins of chaos: destiny, karma, and reincarnation. It was no wonder that Ba Dao would bring Tong Tong into Eternal Emperor Road. Although Tong Tong's cultivation was only at the 3rd heaven of the Imperial Emperor realm, her eye of the heavenly Tao could make anyone unable to hide from her. Big brother, Tong Tong is a strange girl. She secretly followed us into Eternal Emperor Road this time. Initially, she wasn't allowed to enter Eternal Emperor Road. However, don't worry. With Tong Tong around, no matter what schemes Zhu Chen and the others have, they won't be able to hide. Ba Dao said slowly, "Brother Ling Xiao, I think this might be an opportunity for you. An opportunity for you to become the child of the heavenly Tao." Tong Tong suddenly said, "Child of the heavenly Tao?" Ling Xiao was slightly stunned. "That's right. Since Zhu Chen wants to deal with you, he has to rely on the Guardian. In Torch Dragon Imperial City, the Guardian has the support of the heavenly Tao. We're no match for him. However, if he dares to leave Torch Dragon Imperial City after 3 days, that might not be the case." Tong Tong said with a smile, "You're saying that Zhu Chen will ask the Guardian to attack us?" Ba Dao frowned slightly. "It's very likely. Judging from Zhu Chen's actions, the Guardian is probably not a good person. At that time, if Zhu Chen dares to attack us, we'll capture him alive and then set a trap to lure the Guardian here. Perhaps we can kill the Guardian." Tong Tong said. "Kill the Guardian? Tong Tong, you're too audacious." Ba Dao was slightly stunned. "If he wants to kill us, why can't we plot against him?" "Brother Ling Xiao, the Guardian has the heavenly Tao fate on him. If you kill him and absorb his heavenly Tao fate, not only will your cultivation level increase rapidly, but it will also transform the heavenly Tao fate in your body and evolve towards becoming the child of the heavenly Tao. On this Eternal Emperor Road, if you become the child of the heavenly Tao, you'll be invulnerable. At least the heavenly Tao won't target or plot against you. Only then will you have a chance to compete with those ancient sky prides. After all, countless ancient sky prides have awakened in this Eternal Emperor Road. There's no lack of former chosen children and even children of the heavenly Tao. They have a strong foundation and we must quickly catch up with them." Tong Tong said slowly. In just a few words, she had already calculated Ling Zhao's future path. "Tong Tong, you're indeed our little fox." Ba Dao swallowed his saliva and said with a bitter smile, "Brother, you flatter me. Brother Ling Xiao, what do you think of my idea?" Tong Tong looked at Ling Xiao with a smile. Ling Xiao pondered for a moment and nodded. "Tong Tong, although I have no enmity with the Guardian, if he wants to kill me, I won't show any mercy. We'll do as you say. 3 days later, I'd like to see what Zhu Chen wants. Brother Ling Xiao, leave it to me. I guarantee that I'll give Zhu Chen a surprise." Tong Tong smiled sweetly, a trace of craftiness in her eyes. Chapter 3153. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. All the trial takers and sky prides in the Candle Dragon Emperor City were rubbing their palms together in preparation for the heavenly test. The Candle Dragon Emperor City was the first Emperor City that they had entered in the Eternal Emperor Road. Rumor had it that if one could pass the test at the fastest speed or even break the record in the first Emperor City, they would be protected by the heavenly luck. Therefore, countless trial takers and sky prides were hoping to come out on top in this heavenly test. At the central square of the Candle Dragon Emperor City, thousands of trial takers and sky prides were gathered there, surrounded by guards in armor. Each of them had a cold look in their eyes as they scanned the surroundings continuously to maintain order. There was a huge stone wall in front of everyone. It looked extremely smooth and crystal clear. This was the Heavenly Jade Wall, the place where the heavenly test was issued. Rumor had it that this was a test issued by the heavenly Tao. Even the guardian would not know about it in advance. Buzz. A bright light shone in the void as a figure appeared, emitting an extremely powerful aura. His hair and beard were all white, and he looked very kind and amiable. His eyes were incomparably deep, as if they could see through everything. He was the guardian of the Candle Dragon Emperor City, the Candle Dragon. The Candle Dragon was the embodiment of the heavenly Tao in the Candle Dragon Emperor City. No one dared to challenge his authority. In the Candle Dragon Emperor City, the Candle Dragon could borrow the power of the heavenly Tao. He was an existence that was comparable to a supreme emperor, and his strength was unfathomable. Of course, his cultivation was not weak either. He had already reached the unparalleled emperor realm. Rumor had it that if the living beings in the Eternal Emperor Road did not have their path of cultivation cut off by the heavenly Tao, the Candle Dragon would definitely be able to become an emperor. Is he the guardian, the Candle Dragon? In the central square, Ling Xiao, Ba Dao, and Tong Tong arrived and saw the Candle Dragon floating in the void. Ling Xiao's eyes flickered with a strange light. He could sense an aura that was similar to his from the Candle Dragon's body. It was the aura of the heavenly Tao Luck. The Candle Dragon seemed to have sensed Ling Xiao's gaze. His eyes flickered as he glanced at Ling Xiao. He noticed me too? Ling Xiao's heart skipped a beat, but he remained calm and did not avoid the Candle Dragon's gaze. The Candle Dragon's gaze lingered on Ling Xiao for a moment before shifting away. Everyone, welcome to Candle Dragon Imperial City. The Candle Dragon spoke. His voice was deep and old, as if it contained the vicissitudes of time. It was like a great bell that rang clearly in everyone's ears. All the cultivators quietened down and lifted their heads to look at the Candle Dragon in the sky. Candle Dragon Imperial City means a lot to all of you. I don't think I need to say more. Next, the Heavenly Tao Jade Wall will release the content of this Heavenly Tao test. I hope that all of you can pass it and embark on the journey to becoming an eternal emperor. The Candle Dragon sounded very calm, but it made everyone feel a sense of urgency. Many of the trial challengers and sky prides looked at the people around them with vigilance. Everyone around them could be their competitor or even their enemy. In the upcoming Heavenly Tao trial, they would definitely kill them. If they wanted to reach the end, they could not trust anyone except themselves. That bastard Ling Xiao has indeed removed the curse in Sister Ba Dao's body. I won't let him off. In the distance, Zhu Chen and Ying Yilong stood together with cold, murderous intent in their eyes. Brother Zhu Chen, if Ling Xiao is really a robber, then things will be easier. When his identity is revealed, everyone will definitely gang up on him. We don't even have to do anything. Ying Yilong sneered. Don't worry, I have already planned it out. This time, he will definitely die. Zhu Chen said coldly. Rumble. At that moment, the Heavenly Tao Jade Wall suddenly released a dazzling light. Vast heavenly power gushed out. The Heavenly Tao Jade Wall was crystal clear, and lines of distorted golden runes appeared on it. Those were primordial sacred runes, which were created by the God tribe after they comprehended the Heavenly Tao. They were known as the words that were closest to the Heavenly Tao. The Heavenly Tao trial had appeared. Everyone was shocked. Their eyes were filled with anticipation as they looked at the Heavenly Tao Jade Wall with their eyes wide open. The Heavenly Tao trial is in the burial desert? Ba Dao furrowed his brows. On the Heavenly Tao Jade Annulus, the location of the Heavenly Tao test was actually the burial desert. Moreover, it required everyone to enter the burial desert, find a burial fruit, and then safely leave the burial desert. Only then could they pass the test. However, no one knew the horror of the burial desert better than Ba Dao. He and Tong Tong had entered the burial desert by mistake. Moreover, they had already encountered the burial ants and 7 ant kings that were comparable to high-level imperial emperors in the periphery of the burial desert. In the end, they had to rely on the taboo saber to fight their way out. In the burial desert, there were not only the burial ants but also all kinds of beasts and dangerous places. Even imperial emperors would have a slim chance of survival if they entered. Burial desert? That is the most terrifying place around the Candle Dragon Imperial City. I did not expect the Heavenly Tao trial to be in the burial desert. Someone cried out in alarm, and a trace of deep fear appeared in his eyes. Coward, if you don't dare to enter the burial desert, then go home. Pa, I have long wanted to see the burial desert. That's right. Only the burial desert is worthy of us. There were also people who were eager to give it a try. Instead, they were very excited and mocked those trial takers who were afraid. The entire central square became extremely noisy. The Heavenly Tao trial has appeared. This is the revelation of the Heavenly Tao. Warriors, step on your journey. The candle dragon said slowly, and his voice was like thunder. He waved his sleeve and the void immediately shook. The air-sealing array above the candle dragon imperial city disappeared and a rainbow bridge instantly traversed hundreds of millions of miles. It was also outside the candle dragon imperial city, in an unknown place. However, everyone knew that it was the burial desert. Let's go! Someone shouted loudly and took the lead to leap up, stepping onto the rainbow bridge and flying into the distance. This is our journey. Cowards are not worthy of the Heavenly Tao trial. Only true warriors dare to face the burial desert, shake the eternal Emperor Road, and compete with the geniuses of thousands of worlds. Who else can do it but me? Some people were full of pride and were overwhelmed with emotions. Tens of thousands of trial takers and geniuses leaped into the sky. Even those who were afraid of the burial desert clenched their teeth and stepped onto the rainbow bridge. After all, they could only advance on the eternal Emperor Road and could not retreat. Retreating meant death. They had no other choice. Let's go too. Ling Zhao's eyes flickered as he, Ba Dao, and Tong Tong leaped into the sky and embarked on the first expedition on the eternal Emperor Road. Chapter 3154. The sky was vast, the ground was vast, and yellow sand filled the sky. It was a gray world, as if the desert was the eternal theme. After leaving Candle Dragon Imperial City, the crowd entered the burial desert. The burial desert was an incomparably peculiar space. Although there were specks of oases here, and even small patches of forests and lakes, the desert was the most important existence. Endless sand swept over, as if it could even bury the sky. The space here was distorted and filled with uncertainty. Therefore, after entering the burial desert, most of the trial takers and sky prides in Candle Dragon Imperial City were sent to various places. Moreover, the slaughter had begun at the instant they entered Heaven's burial desert. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. A few tentacles that looked like they were made of metal shot out from the depths of the yellow sand. Like lightning, there were explosive sounds in the void. 2 to 3 trial takers who had just entered had their chests pierced through in an instant. They were sent flying into the void as they screamed in agony. They were extremely decisive. Radiance shone in their hands as they instantly took out powerful weapons and slashed at the tentacles. Clang. The sound of metal clashing was heard and sparks flew. The tentacles were extremely sturdy and only had a white mark on them. Oh no, it's poisonous! The 3 trial challengers felt their bodies go numb. Their expressions changed drastically as they cried out in alarm. Boom! At the same time, endless killing flew. A giant beast crawled out of the desert. There were thousands of eyes on its body like a blood moon, filled with bloodlust and cold killing intent. A ferocious mouth appeared in front of them and swallowed them. It was a centipede that was thousands of feet long and exuded an insufferably ferocious aura. No! Their eyes were filled with terror and despair as they roared out loud. But soon, their voices stopped abruptly. Under the condition of being poisoned, the 3 of them could not resist at all and were swallowed by the giant centipede in an instant. The giant centipede's eyes revealed a trace of human-like satisfaction. In an instant, it crawled into the desert and headed into the distance. Rumble! Further away, as soon as the geniuses of the trials entered the burial desert, they immediately realized that there were dozens of ants around them. Each of them seemed to be made of silver, emitting a brilliant glow and emitting a powerful aura. Oh no, it's the heaven-burying ant. However, they had just leaped up when the dozens of heaven-burying ants had already flown over. They were like silver lightning, burying the few of them. Terrifying chewing sounds could be heard, causing everyone to shudder in fear. Some trial challengers were sent into the distorted space turbulence. These space turbulence were incomplete ancient emperor rays that contained the power of space source. Before they could see the burial desert clearly, they were instantly torn to shreds, not even their bones remaining. The trial takers who had entered the burial desert suffered a large number of casualties almost instantly. However, most of the people who died were cannon fodder with weak strength. They were people with low cultivation who wanted to get lucky and get lucky. Most of them were buried in the burial desert. Of course, there were also some lucky ones. Some people were sent to an oasis and actually discovered the origin source fruit tree. The origin source fruit that they plucked from the tree allowed their origin source power to condense and their cultivation base to improve greatly. Some people were sent to a lake that was completely formed by the origin source power. They were overjoyed and were about to cultivate when they were killed by a giant beast that was lurking in the lake. Some people encountered powerful weapons left behind by their predecessors and even obtained powerful inheritances. All in all, the trial of the burial desert was filled with a cruel and bloody aura from the very beginning. In order to prevent them from getting lost, Ling Xiao had hidden Ba Dao and Tong Tong in his internal world from the very beginning. He only let them out after entering the burial desert. The place where they appeared was the most ordinary desert. In the distance, the desert formed a continuous mountain range that stretched as far as the eye could see. They sensed the aura of living creatures. There were dozens of scorpion-shaped primeval mutants that wanted to sneak up on the three of them. They were easily killed by Ba Dao. Big brother, the burial desert is extremely dangerous. The most dangerous ones are the burial ants. Not only are they powerful, but they like to form groups. When they appear, there are at least hundreds or thousands of them. They are very difficult to deal with. Our top priority is to find the burial fruit. Ba Dao said slowly. Sky burial fruit. Do you know where it is? Ling Xiao looked around and asked. The space in the burial desert is chaotic. It changes every once in a while, so no one knows the detailed map of this place. However, the burial fruit grows in places where vitality and death gather. If you want to find the burial fruit, you have to go to places with oases, lakes, and forests. Ba Dao said slowly. Although he and Tong Tong had accidentally entered the burial desert, they did not stay in the burial desert for long. Then, they were extremely unlucky and encountered the burial ants, which attracted the 7 ant kings. They had inquired about the existence of the burial fruit. Buzz. Tong Tong's eyes were intertwined with dazzling light. 7 colors were changing and mysterious. He was activating the Eye of Heaven Dao to explore the surroundings. There should be an oasis 10,000 miles away. At the same time, I also sense a weak death aura. If I'm not wrong, there should be a burial fruit. Tong Tong pointed in a direction and said, Tong Tong is amazing. Ba Dao rubbed Tong Tong's little head and said, Then let's go. Ling Xiao said with a smile. Tong Tong's Eye of Heaven Dao was indeed amazing. He could actually find the aura of the burial fruit in the chaotic burial desert. In comparison, Ling Xiao's Eye of God was more focused on fighting. In terms of searching the sky, it might not be as good as Tong Tong's Eye of Heaven Dao. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. They leaped up, concealed their auras, and flew in the direction Tong Tong pointed. There were many dangers in the burial desert. They did not dare to be careless. Although 10,000 miles was nothing to them, there were all kinds of dangers in the desert. Many primitive beasts hid in the desert, waiting for an opportunity to hunt their enemies. Along the way, they encountered all kinds of powerful ferocious beasts, scorpions, venomous snakes, and spatial turbulence in the burial desert. In the end, they passed through safely. An oasis appeared in front of them. It was like a pearl in the endless desert. It was dazzling and contained exuberant vitality, making one feel comfortable. Chapter 3155. It is indeed an oasis. Tong Tong is amazing. Ling Xiao said with a smile. They leaped forward. The oasis in front of them was actually a lake. There was a small piece of land in the center, with green grass and a tree growing on it. The tree had a strange shape. It was only about the height of a person, but its branches were sparse. The branches were like dragons, and there was a black fruit hanging at the top of the tree. The black fruit was shrouded in black light and was filled with a thick death aura. However, Ling Xiao sensed an incomparably pure life origin from it. That was the sky burial fruit. Brother, be careful. The sky burial fruit is guarded by strange beasts. The sky burial fruit has a magical effect on the primitive strange beasts in the sky burial desert. I suspect that the strange beast is in the lake. Ba Dao said slowly with a glimmer of light in his eyes. Brother is right. That is a black dragon crocodile. It is 1,000 feet long. It is 520 feet in front of you. Tong Tong said softly with a glint in his eyes. Clang. As soon as Tong Tong finished speaking, Ba Dao attacked instantly. A snow-white saber radiance bloomed. His broken saber was unsheathed. It was like a long rainbow that contained a domineering and sharp saber essence. It slashed toward a certain spot in the lake. As if it felt the strong threat of Ba Dao's attack, there was a roar in the lake. In the next moment, a black figure rushed out of the lake. Endless waves rose and went toward the saber radiance. It was a huge crocodile that was 1,000 feet long. Its body was pitch black and covered in black dragon scales. There was a mysterious dragon aura around it. Its limbs were like dragon claws that shone with a sharp light. In its huge mouth, its sharp teeth were like swords that could pierce through everything. Its eyes were like blood moons that were filled with anger and killing intent. It had always been a hunter. Now that its real body was discovered and attacked, how could it not be angry? Facing Ba Dao's attack, the black light around its body swept out. It did not dodge. Instead, it opened its bloody mouth and pounced toward Ling Xiao and the other two. Boom! The huge blade light slashed on the black dragon crocodile's body. Suddenly, a few pieces of its extremely hard dragon scales were broken, and a huge bloody wound appeared on its body. It cried out in agony and sped up in pain, arriving in front of Ling Xiao and the others almost instantaneously. Let me! Ling Xiao stopped Ba Dao, who wanted to continue attacking. A bright light flashed in his eyes, and then he punched out. The primal chaos fist seal was unparalleled. It contained a fist intent that could destroy everything. It swept out like a storm. Before the punch arrived, the black dragon crocodile's sharp teeth instantly shattered. Then, it violently shot into its mouth, causing it to spit out countless blood mist. The unparalleled fist landed directly on the head of the black dragon crocodile. The sturdy dragon scales shattered instantly, and the head of the black dragon crocodile exploded. Even the divine soul inside couldn't escape, and was completely destroyed. Boom! The black dragon crocodile fell from the sky and landed in the lake, creating a huge splash. Fresh blood dyed the lake red. Big brother, your physical body is so strong that I'm afraid many ancient beasts can't compare to you. Ba Dao exclaimed in admiration. Big brother Ling Xiao, are you going to walk the path of proving your Dao through strength? Tong Tong tilted her head and asked curiously. Proving my Dao through strength? Maybe. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. It was too difficult to prove one's Dao through strength. That was when one's physical body had reached the pinnacle and broke through the origin of the Great Path. However, Ling Xiao's goal wasn't limited to that. Hurry up and collect the sky burial fruit. The smell of blood here is so strong. I'm afraid it will attract other ancient beasts. Ling Xiao said, All right. Ba Dao nodded. Then, he instantly leaped up and flew towards the land in the middle of the lake. He carefully took out a jade box, picked the sky burial fruit, and placed it in the jade box. Swoosh! At that moment, there was a dazzling golden light in the distance. It was surrounded by flames and it shot towards Ba Dao. It was an arrow, a golden divine arrow. It contained a powerful emperor's aura and it whizzed through the air. Its speed was extremely fast and it arrived before Ba Dao in an instant. Big brother, be careful. Tong Tong's face turned pale and she quickly reminded Ba Dao. Boom! A sharp light flashed in Ba Dao's eyes. The cold saber essence gushed out from his body. The space around him seemed to distort in an instant. The arrow flew towards Ba Dao's glabella. However, it instantly froze and couldn't go any further. Ba Dao slashed down with his palm. The arrow vibrated violently and gave off dazzling sparks. It seemed to have a mind of its own and it wanted to fly back. Boom! Ba Dao directly grabbed the golden divine arrow, allowing it to vibrate in his palm. The extreme emperor's aura that shot out even pierced his palm, causing blood to flow out. "Who is it? Come out," Ba Dao said coldly. The golden divine arrow was an emperor's weapon. If Ba Dao hadn't used his trump card at the critical moment and caused the arrow to freeze, he wouldn't have been able to block the golden divine arrow given his physical strength. The person in the dark actually wanted to kill Ba Dao directly. "I didn't expect you to be able to block my golden divine arrow. Not bad. You are indeed Ba Dao. You have some skills." A cold and arrogant voice resounded. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. There were a few air-rending sounds and more than 10 figures flew over from afar. They floated in the air and gave off powerful auras. The two leading them were young men with imposing appearances. One of them was wearing black armor and he looked cold. His eyes were like steel and they were filled with cold killing intent. He was the leader of the 8 Dragon Kings, in Ilong. The other one was wearing golden armor. He was tall and handsome. He carried a golden bow on his back and it looked ancient and mysterious. There were mysterious runes carved on it and an emperor's aura spread out from him. He was the one who spoke just now. Behind him, there were also a few young men in golden armor with longbows on their backs. Their expressions were cold and arrogant, and their noses were pointed to the sky. "Big brother, it's Feng Fan from the Divine Arrow clan." Ba Dao returned to Ling Zhao's side and said slowly, "Divine Arrow clan? Fate has brought us together." Ling Zhao's eyes were filled with a strange look. The Divine Arrow clan was closely related to the deity clan in the immortal world. When the deity clan declined, some of them who had the bloodline of the deity clan left the immortal world and formed their own clans. The Divine Arrow clan was one of them. The Divine Arrow clan was born with great talent in archery. It was rumored that the Divine Arrow clan used stars as their targets. An adult from the Divine Arrow clan could destroy stars and their strength was terrifying. Feng Fan was the supreme talent of the Divine Arrow clan. He was a 7th Heaven Imperial Emperor and he had condensed the origin of arrows. He held the Divine Arrow clan's emperor weapons, the Golden Bow and the Golden Divine Arrow clan. It was said that he never missed his target. He had made a name for himself the moment he entered the Candle Dragon Imperial City. "Ling Xiao, you killed my 9th brother. Today, I will make you pay with your blood." Ing Ilong did not hide the cold killing intent in his eyes and said coldly, "You want to kill me? I will naturally accompany you. However, I am curious. How did you find us?" Ling Xiao smiled faintly and asked curiously. Chapter 3156. "Ling Xiao, don't you know that you're about to die? You killed my 9th brother. That's a crime that deserves death. But you actually dared to have designs on Ba Dao? Don't you know that he's the person that young Master Zhu Qin values the most? Young Master Zhu Qin is the Guardian's most beloved great-grandson. Do you think that you can escape young Master Zhu Qin's eyes? After you entered the burial desert, every action of yours was already exposed." Ing Yilong sneered. His eyes were filled with killing intent. "Zhu Qin? Looks like it's just as I thought. It's really that despicable person who only knows how to hide. But I'm curious. Why didn't he come? Could it be that he's treating you as cannon fodder?" Ling Xiao said with a smile. Facing the siege of Feng Fan, Ing Yilong and more than 10 other experts, there was no trace of fear on his face. "What a sharp tongue. Do you really think that the 3 of you can escape from our hands?" Ing Yilong said coldly. "Where's Zhu Qin?" Ba Dao asked coldly. He was originally grateful to Zhu Qin. Even if Zhu Qin had used him, he was still grateful that Zhu Qin had saved him and Tong Tong. However, he never thought that Zhu Qin would be so crazy. In order to control him, Zhu Chen had actually placed a curse on Tong Tong's body. Tong Tong was Ba Dao's reverse scale. At this moment, Ba Dao hated Zhu Chen so much that he was about to go crazy. Ba Dao, let me give you a piece of advice. If you join young Master Zhu Chen now, you and your sister can live. Otherwise, don't blame us for being ruthless. Ying Yilong stared at Ba Dao and sneered. Where's Zhu Chen? Ba Dao asked again. His voice was low, and it was filled with suppressed anger. Stubborn. Since you don't know what's good for you, then die with your sister. Ying Yilong sneered. Ying Yilong, you talk too much nonsense. Just attack. Although I owe Zhu Chen a favor, I'm not his subordinate. Feng Fan said with a frown. Brother Feng is right. But Brother Feng, don't underestimate them. This Ling Xiao is the heaven's chosen one. Once you kill him, you can replace him and obtain his heavenly Dao fate. On the other hand, Ba Dao even killed 7 heaven burial ant kings in the past. So, we must attack with all our strength and strive to annihilate all of them. Ying Yilong said with a smile. He couldn't afford to offend Feng Fan. This person's Dao of archery had already reached an extraordinary level. He had once injured a peerless imperial emperor with a single arrow. Many high-level imperial emperors had died at his hands. It was because of Feng Fan and the other prodigies of the Divine Arrow clan that he was so confident in killing Ling Xiao and Ba Dao. The chosen one? Very good. He's mine. Feng Fan's eyes flashed with a cold light, revealing a strong battle intent. Don't worry, Brother Feng. Ling Xiao's life is definitely yours. His heavenly fate is also yours. We'll leave the long-range attacks to you guys. Ying Yilong said with a smile. Don't worry. They can't escape. Feng Fan coldly said. His voice revealed a powerful wave of confidence. Divine Arrow Clan. Divine Arrow piercing the heavens. In front of the Divine Arrow Clan, no one could dodge their arrows. Once an arrow was shot, there would be no regrets. Once an arrow was shot, there would be blood. Divine Arrow return. Feng Fan stared at Ba Dao and said proudly. Boom. It was as if his mouth contained the heavenly law, and his voice contained a strange power. The golden arrow in Ba Dao's hand instantly shone brightly. Surging Emperor's aura filled the air. The arrow seemed to be able to pierce through everything. Ba Dao felt that if he didn't let go, his entire hand would explode. Give it to me. Ling Xiao said indifferently. Then he grabbed the golden arrow in Ba Dao's hand. Boom. Unparalleled divine power erupted. The golden arrow in Ling Xiao's hand trembled violently. It wanted to escape from Ling Xiao's grasp, but it couldn't break free. The chaotic energy in Ling Xiao's palm annihilated everything. The arrow shattered one after another. Golden arrow? Take one of my arrows. Ling Xiao said indifferently. His eyes flashed with a bright light. Swoosh. Unparalleled divine power erupted from his body. He grabbed the golden arrow and threw it at Feng Fan. The golden arrow seemed to have been blessed with a terrifying power. In an instant, it swept across the void. It was extremely bright. It was like a golden sun, flying towards Feng Fan. If the golden arrow shot by Feng Fan was said to be sharp, piercing, and unstoppable, like a meteor. But now, the golden arrow shot by Ling Xiao was exuding a majestic aura. It suppressed everyone's heart and soul. Boom. After shooting the golden arrow, Ling Xiao also made his move in an instant. He threw out a punch. Chaotic light gushed out. Unparalleled fist prints swept across all directions, suppressing Ying Yifan. Clang. The blade radiance was dazzling. In Ba Dao's hand, a long rainbow flew across the sky and shrouded the Divine Arrow clan. You're courting death. Feng Fan's eyes flashed coldly. He was shocked and angry. He did not expect Ling Xiao to be able to control his golden arrow. Moreover, there were signs that the golden arrow was going to backfire. Blazing light gushed out from his body. His slender fingers pointed in the void. In an instant, arrows flew across the sky and shot towards Ling Xiao's vital points. At the same time, he stretched out his hand and wanted to grab the golden arrow in his hand. Boom! The moment he came into contact with the golden arrow, he felt the terror of the golden arrow. That unparalleled divine power exploded, making him feel as if his arm was about to be shattered. He couldn't help but fall back. At this moment, Ba Dao had also charged towards him. "You're courting death. Kill him." The eyes of the Divine Arrow clan's members were as sharp as iron. Their killing intent was boiling. They all held their bows and shot arrows. Many golden arrows were shot out at an extremely fast speed. Their movements were like afterimages. They kept drawing their bows and releasing arrows. The arrow radiance swept across the void and enveloped Ba Dao. The dazzling blade radiance fell like the Milky Way across the 9 heavens. The domineering blade intent shrouded the surroundings as if it could destroy everything. The sky full of arrow radiance exploded. Ba Dao held the broken sword in his hand, but there was an invincible aura about him as he charged towards the Divine Arrow clan. "You're courting death." Feng Fan stabilized his body. His eyes flashed coldly. He regained control of the golden arrow in his hand. In an instant, he knocked it on the golden bow and shot it towards Ba Dao. The dazzling golden radiance was like a meteor falling from the sky. It was so dazzling that people could not open their eyes. Ba Dao felt a fatal threat coming towards him. Without hesitation, he slashed down with his blade. Boom! The unparalleled blade radiance collided with the golden arrow. Dazzling light bloomed and swept across the void like a storm. In the end, the blade radiance was shattered. The golden arrow was like a hot knife through butter. It directly hit the broken sword in Ba Dao's hand. The broken sword seemed to be unable to withstand such a terrifying force and shattered into pieces. The golden arrow pierced through Ba Dao's chest. His body shattered in the void. Afterimage. Feng Fan's eyes flashed. He suddenly felt a strong sense of danger coming from behind him. Chapter 3157. Boom! Feng Fan did not even hesitate. Sharp arrow radiance shot out from his body as he turned his palm and slammed it behind him. His palm was extremely sharp, like thousands of arrows shooting out at the same time. The dazzling arrow radiance seemed to be able to shatter everything. It was extremely terrifying. Behind him, Ba Dao's eyes were extremely cold. A huge saber radiance like the Milky Way hung upside down in the 9 heavens as it slashed down from the sky. Boom! The void shook violently as Feng Fan and Ba Dao's saber radiance collided. Feng Fan's body trembled as the clothes on his arms were instantly torn apart. The terrifying saber radiance left bloody wounds on his body. Feng Fan felt as if his entire arm had lost all feeling as he was sent flying. However, Ba Dao's saber radiance was also shattered by his palm. "Very good. You have thoroughly offended me." Feng Fan's eyes were cold as he exuded an extremely powerful battle intent. Rumble! He instantly soared into the sky like a golden bolt of lightning. His speed was extremely fast as blazing arrow radiance rose around him. The killing intent in his eyes seemed to have materialized. The golden bow spewed out a powerful emperor's aura as it intertwined with the golden arrow. The two merged into one and an extremely terrifying energy fluctuation erupted. Although the power of an extreme Dao Emperor's weapon was suppressed in Eternal Emperor Road, it was still much stronger than other weapons. Especially since Feng Fan's cultivation had already reached the high-level Imperial Emperor realm. He had even condensed the origin of arrow. In terms of archery, he could be said to have reached the acme of perfection. Ba Dao also understood that Feng Fan's strength was extremely terrifying. That was why he chose to engage in close combat, not giving Feng Fan any chance to catch his breath. Seeing Feng Fan soar into the sky, he also slashed down with his saber. The saber radiance traversed the void and was extremely intense. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. At that moment, the other geniuses of the Divine Arrow clan all looked at Ba Dao coldly. They had already distanced themselves from Feng Fan and raised their bows to shoot at him. The golden arrow radiance was like a meteor. Its speed was extremely fast, causing Ba Dao to feel slightly threatened. Boom! Left with no choice, he faced the attack in the air. The terrifying saber intent around him rose and annihilated the golden arrow radiance. However, his body naturally slowed down by a little. At this moment, Windsail had already pulled away from him. Ba Dao, take my demon god world annihilating arrow. Feng Fan's face was incomparably cold, but his eyes became incomparably resplendent. His cold voice exploded in the air. His entire body shone with a resplendent golden light as if he was cast from gold. He pulled open the golden bow, and the golden arrow contained a peerless sharpness as it locked onto Ba Dao in the distance. His entire body was filled with a different kind of beauty, as if he was the incarnation of the archer god. His entire essence, energy, and spirit had fused into the golden arrow. Sky Tyrant Slash. Ba Dao's fighting spirit rose in his eyes. He didn't choose to retreat in the face of this powerful arrow. Instead, he charged forward. Rumble. Ba Dao's entire body emitted an incomparably terrifying saber intent. Although the saber in his hand was shattered, his entire body seemed to have transformed into a peerless divine saber, emitting a monstrous baleful aura. Everyone could see that there seemed to be a huge astral saber that was tens of thousands of feet long in the air, slashing down at the sail. At the same time, the aura around Feng Fan's body was also extremely powerful. The golden arrow instantly left the bowstring and shot towards Ba Dao. The sound of the golden arrow piercing through the air was like the roar of a demon god. In the blazing golden light, it seemed as if a peerless demon god had emerged. In an instant, it split into millions of rays of light, enveloping Ba Dao's entire body. Demon God World Annihilating Arrow. With the power of a demon god, it carried out an act of annihilation. The unparalleled astral saber fell and collided with the demon god world annihilating arrow. In an instant, shocking divine light fluctuations erupted. The aura was terrifying to the extreme, causing the surrounding space to tremble violently. Rays of golden light were shattered one after another. The origin of the arrow and the origin of the saber, one focused on sharpness, while the other focused on dominance. Both were the most powerful origin of killing, incomparably terrifying. The collision between Feng Fan and Ba Dao was like a collision between two peerless geniuses. The power was terrifying to the extreme. In an instant, the saber light and the arrow light were annihilated at the same time. However, Ba Dao charged over from the boundless storm. His eyes revealed a crazed expression. If he didn't go crazy, he wouldn't survive. Facing the rain of arrows, despite his body being drenched in blood and being pierced by thousands of arrows, he still charged through the sky. Of course, his physical body wasn't as strong as Ling Xiao's that could ignore an extreme Dao Emperor weapon. On the contrary, the golden arrow had caused him quite a bit of damage. However, he had paid the price of being injured in exchange for the distance between him and Feng Fan. He arrived in front of Feng Fan. Clang. Ba Dao didn't have a saber in his hand, or rather, his hand was a saber. The saber light seemed to be able to destroy everything. It was terrifying to the extreme as it slashed down towards Feng Fan. The dazzling saber light was like a storm, sweeping across the void and enveloping both Ba Dao and Feng Fan. Tyrannical Blade's crazy fighting style caught even Windsail unprepared. This lunatic. Feng Fan felt the fatal threat from the saber light and a cold light flashed in his eyes. He revealed a trace of fear and quickly retreated. At the same time, the golden arrow was placed on the golden bow. The arrow light was dazzling and it was like a ray of light that pierced through the void, shooting towards Ba Dao. However, the saber light that filled the sky had annihilated all of the arrow light. The unparalleled saber light was like a mountain pressing down on Feng Fan, causing him to feel as though he had been struck by lightning. The golden bow in his hand trembled violently and he was sent flying. He spat out a mouthful of blood and his eyes were filled with disbelief. Ba Dao, is this his true strength? Feng Fan muttered to himself, revealing a trace of incomparable madness in his eyes. Facing Ba Dao in front of him, he actually felt a sense of excitement as though he had seen a prey. The flesh on his body started to tremble. Ba Dao had injured him, and this made him value Ba Dao even more. This was a powerful opponent. Ba Dao, you are indeed very strong. You are qualified to receive my 3-world extinguishing arrows. Feng Fan said slowly, his eyes filled with an incomparably strong fighting spirit. Cut the crap. Let's see if you can survive under my saber. Ba Dao's voice was incomparably cold. Amidst the divine light that filled the sky, his body was dripping with blood, but his aura was incomparably terrifying. A sharp and overbearing saber intent erupted, making him look like an ancient god-fiend that had walked out from the primordial chaos, as if he could destroy everything. He did not have a saber in his hand, but his saber was everywhere. After the saber in his hand shattered, it was as if some kind of shackle on his body had been broken, causing his saber light to become even more tyrannical and fierce. Boom! The unparalleled saber light instantly pierced through heaven and earth. It was overbearing and terrifying, as if it was going to destroy the world, enveloping Feng Fan in front of him. Chapter 3158. Just as Ba Dao and Feng Fan were engaged in an intense battle, Ling Xiao was also engaged in a battle with the 8 Dragon Lords. Unparalleled fist imprints swept across the void as the surrounding sand danced wildly like a storm, emitting an incomparably tyrannical aura. The fist imprints that filled the sky were like gigantic ancient divine mountains, majestic and ferocious, exuding an unstoppable and invincible aura. Boom! Ying Yilong was sent flying by Ling Xiao's fist, slamming heavily into the ground far away, creating a huge pit in the burial desert. The ground rumbled as Ying Yilong soared into the sky, his eyes filled with incomparable shock. Although he had seen the battle between Ling Xiao and Ba Dao, it was separated by the arena of life and death after all. Although he knew that Ling Xiao was strong, he had never exchanged blows with Ling Xiao before, so he did not have much of an impression of him. But now, he finally experienced Ling Xiao's strength. That chaotic fist imprint seemed to be able to crush and shatter everything. It was majestic and incomparably vast. Before the fist arrived, the fist intent had already taken away one's soul, making one feel as though they were facing an invincible emperor. Naturally, fear would arise in their hearts. That was the feeling that Ling Xiao gave Ying Yilong. Although Ling Xiao was only a 4th heaven emperor now, Ying Yilong had unknowingly overlooked Ling Xiao's cultivation, and a feeling of being unable to contend with him arose in his heart. How can he be so strong? Ying Yilong's heart was filled with incomparable shock. At the same time, he felt extremely indignant. He was a self-proclaimed genius, the leader of the 9 Dragon Lords, and was known as the most talented monster in the Winged Dragon clan. He was the hope of the Winged Dragon clan. He had once suppressed countless geniuses and stood at the top, nurturing an invincible aura. That was why he stepped onto the Eternal Emperor's road, thinking that he could compete with all the geniuses in the universe on the Eternal Emperor's road. But he did not expect to meet Ling Xiao in the first Emperor's city of the Torch Dragon Emperor's city. This human was only a 4th heaven emperor who had just broken through not long ago, and yet he was able to give him such a strong pressure. Ying Yilong, didn't you want to avenge your brother? You can't even take a punch from me. How are you going to take revenge? Ling Xiao smiled faintly. There seemed to be billions of rays of light shooting out from his eyes. He strode over, chaotic light surging around his body, as if he was pushing aside the sun, moon, and stars. His aura was terrifying to the extreme. Behind him, there seemed to be 3,000 worlds emerging from the chaotic fog. At the same time, there was also a mysterious scene of billions of chaotic gods and devils roaring. Every step Ling Xiao took was like he was stepping on the heavenly Tao. A majestic aura emanated from him, captivating everyone's souls. He was nurturing his strength. Nurture the power of invincibility. Thus, when facing the 8 dragon sovereigns, he only used his fists to fight them. Even though the black spear in Ying Yilong's hand was a powerful Apex Emperor armament, he was still fearless. An extreme Tao Emperor weapon might be considered as an invincible weapon to experts below the Great Emperor realm. However, to great emperors, it was merely a worldly possession and was not that important. Many extreme Tao monarch weapons had been damaged during the monarch wars. Great emperors were strong because they had an invincible heart. Therefore, they were able to nurture the power of invincibility, allowing them to dominate the 9 heavens and 10 earths. Ling Zhao's current strength was only in its embryonic form. However, it still made the 8 dragon sovereigns feel a chill down their spines. He had forced Ying Yilong back with a single punch and had already captured the hearts of the 8 dragon sovereigns. He had planted the seed of invincibility in their hearts. Ling Xiao, you're courting death. Ying Yilong was shocked and furious. His eyes were filled with killing intent. Rumble. His arrogance rose. As an upper-level Emperor Realm expert, if he could not even take a single punch from Ling Xiao and could not even avenge his younger brother, how could he compete for the eternal Emperor path? Kill! He roared. The black spear in his hand emitted black flames. It was extremely cold and exuded a destructive aura as it pierced towards Ling Xiao. Kill! He's not that strong. Don't be fooled by him. Today, either he dies or we die. Let's fight it out with him. All the sky prides of the winged dragon tribe were filled with killing intent. They stimulated the powerful battle intent in their hearts as they charged towards Ling Xiao. The surrounding void shook. Destructive energy intertwined around them, causing them to exude an extremely violent aura. A dragon's roar resounded, shaking the heavens and earth. The surrounding void trembled violently. The winged dragon tribe was a branch of the dragon tribe. Like the shining dragon tribe, they had been separated from the dragon tribe for countless years. The winged dragon tribe specialized in destruction. Extreme darkness, extreme destruction, extreme killing, and extreme violence. All of this was because they had the bloodline of the black destruction dragon in their bodies. The 3 primogenitors of the dragon tribe, the primordial ancestor dragon, the Genesis dragon, and the black destruction dragon, formed the 3 branches of the dragon tribe, the shining dragon tribe, and the winged dragon tribe. The 9 dragon sovereigns were called the hope of the winged dragon tribe because they had awakened a portion of the black destruction dragon's bloodline. Among them, Ying Yilong's bloodline was the strongest. It was almost at the level of atavism. Rumble. The attacks of the 8 dragon sovereigns were like a storm, causing the surrounding void to tremble violently. They completely enveloped Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao's eyes burned brightly. He was fearless in the face of the attacks of the 8 dragon sovereigns. His unparalleled fist imprint suddenly exploded. Behind him was the mysterious scene of the birth and destruction of epics and the reincarnation of all living beings. The unparalleled fist imprint seemed to pierce through the long river of time, breaking through the barrier of chaos and exuding an eternal power. The epic fist. It was also an extreme killing and destructive energy. The epic fist was extremely terrifying. It bloomed from the center of the 8 dragon sovereigns' attacks. Rumble. It was like a chaotic lotus had bloomed. It was dazzling and swept out in all directions. It destroyed the attacks of the 8 dragon sovereigns and then swept out in an instant. The 8 dragon sovereigns felt as if they had been struck by lightning. They were like small boats in an endless storm. All of their attacks were destroyed and then sent flying. Clang. Ling Zhao's unparalleled fist imprint collided with Ying Yilong's black battle spear. The sound of metal colliding rang out, and a blazing light blossomed. Ying Yilong's entire body shook violently, and his arm went numb. His eyes were filled with incomparable shock. Ling Zhao's strength had exceeded his imagination. Ling Zhao's physical body was so strong that it could withstand his apex emperor weapon. Although he had attacked with all his might, he could not cause any damage to Ling Xiao. If it was before the battle between Ba Dao and I, the 8 of you might have had the strength to fight me. However, you are too weak now. Ling Xiao said indifferently as he threw out a punch. The battle spear in Yilong's hand suddenly bent and blazing light exploded. Then, an unparalleled divine force exploded and he was sent flying. Chapter 3159. Ling Xiao walked out from the chaos. His eyes were indifferent, but there was a mysterious light shooting out from them. It was as though his eyes could illuminate the heavens. He was unstoppable and exuded an invincible aura. Before his battle with Ba Dao, he was only a 3rd Heaven Imperial Emperor. If the 8 dragon monarchs had joined forces, it would not have been so easy for Ling Xiao to win. However, after that battle, Ling Xiao had broken through to the 4th Heaven Imperial Emperor realm. Although it was only a small realm, it was a huge difference to Ling Xiao, who had accumulated a lot of experience. It allowed Ling Xiao's strength to soar. A mid-level Imperial Emperor could be killed with a flip of his hand. A high-level Imperial Emperor could only withstand a few more punches. Among the 8 dragon monarchs, only Ying Yilong was a high-level Imperial Emperor. The rest were mid-level Imperial Emperors. In Ling Xiao's eyes, they were nothing. Brothers, Ling Xiao's strength is too terrifying. If we want to kill him and avenge 9th brother, we can only use the Black Destruction Dragon true form now. Do you believe me? Ying Yilong looked at the remaining dragon monarchs and said solemnly, "Big brother, of course we believe you." Then summon the Black Destruction Dragon true form. As long as we can kill him, it will be worth it even if we have to pay the price. That's right. Big brother, if we can't kill him today, we will probably die in his hands. There's no need to hesitate. The dragon monarchs said resolutely. Their eyes were filled with murderous intent. Alright, summon the Black Destruction Dragon true form. If we can kill him today and devour his heavenly fate, it will be our fortune. Ying Yilong roared. The murderous intent in his eyes was dazzling, and there was even a trace of madness. Roar! A series of dragon roars exploded in the void. Rumble! With Ying Yilong taking the lead, the 8 dragon monarchs instantly revealed their true forms. They turned into 8 black dragons that were 10,000 feet long. Each of them exuded a monstrous dragon aura. They opened their mouths and a black dragon pearl flew out from each of their mouths. The 8 dragon pearls gathered in the void. In an instant, the sky shook and the void distorted. Endless destructive light rose. Streaks of blood-red light shot up into the sky from their bodies and condensed into a mysterious black dragon shadow in the void. Although the black dragon's silhouette did not look big and was not very solid, it had a ferocious aura that surged to the heavens. Black Destruction Dragon, kill! Ying Yilong roared furiously. The black dragon's shadow instantly fused with him, causing his aura to skyrocket. A tyrannical and terrifying energy fluctuation spread out. His pair of blood moon-like eyes stared at Ling Xiao, containing a bone-deep hatred. The true body of the Black Destruction Dragon. It's a pity that the Black Destruction Dragon bloodline in your bodies is still too thin. Ling Xiao asked with interest. He did not interrupt the 8 dragon monarchs. He naturally knew of the winged dragon race's origins, and he had also sensed the bloodline aura of the Black Destruction Dragon within the 8 dragon monarchs. From the looks of it, the 8 dragon monarchs had been pushed to their limits. They had actually summoned the Black Destruction Dragon's true body. Shameless boasting. Ling Xiao, you deserve to die 10,000 times. A monstrous furious roar erupted from Ying Yilong's mouth. Similarly, it contained a monstrous amount of hatred. Rumble! Endless black light spewed out. It was incomparably viscous, and it instantly enveloped Ling Xiao like a black curtain. The black energy contained an incomparably tyrannical destructive power. At the same time, it seemed to be able to freeze the void. It made Ling Xiao feel as if he had fallen into a swamp, and his speed became incomparably slow. Ying Yilong instantly spat out a black flame from his mouth. It contained a destructive aura as it shot through the air towards Ling Xiao. What a powerful destruction source! Ling Xiao exclaimed in his heart. The black flame made him feel quite threatened. If he was touched by the black flame, his bones might be able to withstand it, but his flesh and blood would probably be instantly incinerated. Rumble! A 9-colored flame also appeared in Ling Xiao's palm. It contained the heaven-devouring source. It was the heaven-devouring flame. It turned into a 9-colored lotus and went towards the black flame. At the same time, Ling Xiao took a step forward and instantly traversed the void. Unparalleled fist intent swept out in all directions as he punched towards Ying Yilong. The heaven-devouring flame and the destruction flame collided. In an instant, the flames distorted, causing the surrounding void to distort violently. They intertwined and destroyed each other. As Ling Xiao's fist landed, It collided with Ing Ilong's huge dragon claw. Boom! It was like a punch had landed on a mountain. Ing Ilong's huge dragon claw was incomparably sturdy and sharp. After blocking Ling Xiao's punch, it grabbed towards Ling Xiao's head. Ing Ilong seemed to have really turned into a black destruction dragon. His entire body was filled with the tyrannical destruction source. His strength was extremely strong, and he was not at a disadvantage when facing Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao instantly threw out hundreds and thousands of punches, but they were all blocked by Ing Ilong. Ling Xiao's unparalleled chaos fist imprint did not seem to be able to cause any damage to Ing Ilong. On the contrary, the black dragon scales on Ing Ilong's body were sturdy and indestructible. Even if they took Ling Xiao's chaos fist imprint head-on, they were still shining brightly. Moreover, the destructive force continued to spread into Ling Xiao's body, trying to destroy the life force in his body. It seems that other than your Ing Dragon Dao fruit, your black destruction dragon bloodline is also not bad. Ling Xiao said with a faint smile. Your heavenly fate is also not bad. Ing Ilong said coldly. His eyes were filled with killing intent. His voice was like thunder, causing the surrounding void to tremble violently. The two of them confronted each other with equal harshness, not giving in at all. He had fused with the bloodline powers of the 8 dragon monarchs and formed the true body of the world-destroying black dragon. He was finally able to contend with Ling Xiao and even had the upper hand. Every strike seemed to be able to deal significant damage to Ling Xiao. Rumble! Chaos light swept out in all directions. The destruction energy intertwined and the dragon roar was extremely loud. The battle between Ling Xiao and Ing Ilong was extremely intense, as if it could destroy everything. The oasis where the sky-burying fruit grew had long been destroyed. Yellow sand filled the sky and swept out wildly. The eternal theme of the battle was the desert. If it weren't for the fact that the burial desert was extremely special and protected by the power of the Skyway, the burial desert would have been shattered by this battle. While Ling Xiao and Ba Dao were fighting fiercely against the strong enemy, they did not know that a conspiracy against them had unfolded in the Sky Burial Desert. Ling Xiao is a Dao robber? A piece of news exploded in the Sky Burial Desert. Many of the trial challengers and Sky Prides were incomparably shocked. In the beginning, they were skeptical. However, after the Guardian's order and the reward were announced, they began to believe it. According to the Guardian's orders and bounty, Ling Xiao was actually a Dao robber who wanted to kill the various trial challengers and steal their origin Dao fruits. The Guardian had ordered all the trial challengers and Sky Prides in the Sky Burial Desert to surround and kill Ling Xiao. This news made everyone boil with excitement. Is Ling Xiao really a Dao robber? This is unbelievable. Isn't he the Chosen One? Who said that the Chosen One can't be a Dao robber? The Chosen One has the heavenly fate energy and is more likely to be chosen as a Dao robber. As the name suggests, a Dao robber wants to rob us of our Dao fruits. This is a test of the heavenly fate and also the natural enemy of many trial challengers. What a pity! I heard that Ling Xiao is from the human tribe. In the last era, the human tribe's heavenly emperor was invincible and dominated the eternal emperor road. He finally proved his Dao and became an emperor. He was even invincible and killed great emperor powerhouses. Ling Xiao has become a Dao robber. I'm afraid the human tribe doesn't have much hope this time. Young Master Zhu Chen has already said that anyone who can kill Ling Xiao will be able to inherit his heavenly fate energy and become the Chosen One. That's not all. Anyone who kills Ling Xiao will be rewarded with a large number of origin energy pills and various opportunities from the Guardian. Someone has discovered Ling Xiao's whereabouts. He is currently being held back by Lord Feng Fan and Lord Ing Ilong. Everyone, quickly go and support him. Let's go, let's go. In the Sky Burial Desert, some of the powerful trial takers and geniuses had been fighting against desolate beasts, while others had been searching for the Sky Burial fruit. However, when they heard this news, they were all tempted and headed towards Ling Xiao's location from all directions. The Guardian and young Master Zhu Chen had already informed everyone of Ling Xiao's location. In everyone's opinion, Ling Xiao was already dead. It all depended on who could kill Ling Xiao first and obtain the greatest opportunity. In the burial desert, in an origin energy lake. Mist rose and multicolored light filled the air. This lake was formed from pure origin energy, and it contained boundless energy ripples. Zhu Chen sat cross-legged in the origin source lake, inhaling and exhaling origin source energy. He was like a primeval beast. Every time he exhaled, the surrounding void would rumble as vast amounts of origin source energy poured into his body. His aura was powerful and terrifying, causing the surrounding void to resonate at the same time. Young master, the trap has been laid. Many trial challengers and sky prides have been attracted by your and the Guardian's orders and are all rushing towards Ling Xiao's location. A beautiful maid in a long dress who had an extraordinary cultivation base and an extraordinary temperament spoke respectfully to Zhu Chen. Very good. It seems like it's time to reel in the net. We should also reap the fruits of our victory. I hope Ling Xiao can hold on a little longer. Otherwise, it will be boring. Zhu Chen slowly opened his eyes and a ray of light shot out. It was bright and resplendent. Rumble. He suddenly opened his mouth and a boundless world seemed to appear behind him. It possessed a terrifying pulse of power, devouring all the power in the origin lake. Light shone brightly and mist rose as Zhu Chen stepped out of the lake. A few beautiful maids who were guarding around him immediately came forward to help him change his clothes. They combed his hair carefully and wiped off the water droplets. Their actions were extremely gentle. Zhu Chen's eyes shone brightly. In front of him, there was an extremely mysterious light screen. There was a red dot on it and it showed the location where Ling Xiao was. Let's go, Zhu Chen said indifferently. Together with the maids, they turned into streaks of light and shot into the sky, heading towards Ling Xiao's location. Ling Xiao is a robber? Why would the Guardian spread such news? In the burial desert, in an oasis full of vitality, Fairy Jinghong frowned slightly and her eyes were filled with confusion. Around her were 6 other beautiful feather race girls, as well as a voluptuous woman in a black dress. She was the master of the Creation Tower and the master of the Falling Sky Tower. I heard that Ling Xiao seemed to have offended Zhu Chen and snatched away an expert that Zhu Chen fancied. I'm afraid that's why Zhu Chen hates him? Tower Master Bai Luo said slowly. Her eyes were also filled with confusion. They had been in seclusion before the battle between Ling Xiao and Ba Dao, so they had not heard about it. However, even if Ling Xiao had offended Zhu Chen, in their opinion, Zhu Chen did not have to make such a big fuss. After all, Ling Xiao's cultivation was not strong. He was only at the 3rd heaven of the Imperial Emperor realm. If Zhu Chen wanted to deal with Ling Xiao, it would be a very simple matter. There must be something strange going on. Sister Bai Luo, you're right. Ling Xiao can't be a robber. Then, it must be Zhu Chen and the Guardian's scheme. They actually set up such a huge scheme for Ling Xiao. Aren't they overestimating Ling Xiao? Fairy Jinghong frowned and said, perhaps Ling Xiao is so strong that Zhu Chen does not dare to deal with him and can only rely on the trial takers and sky prides? Tower Master Bai Luo suddenly smiled and said, how is that possible? No matter how strong he is, his cultivation is only at the 3rd heaven of the Imperial Emperor realm. If the Guardian and Zhu Chen want to kill him, it will be a piece of cake. Fairy Jinghong shook her head and said, the reason behind this is not something we can speculate about. Sister Jinghong, you're not thinking of saving him, are you? I advise you not to act rashly. Ling Xiao is now an enemy of the entire world. You and I can't save him. Tower Master Bai Luo said slowly. I naturally don't want to save a stupid guy like him. However, for the sake of the Empress, let's go and take a look. Perhaps we can help. Fairy Jinghong said coldly. However, she still stood up and looked into the distance with clear eyes. That was where Ling Xiao was. Sister Jinghong, I advise you to act within your means. Although the Wing tribe is strong, the trial takers and sky prides in the Eternal Emperor Road will not be afraid of the Wing tribe. Tower Master Bai Luo shook her head and said, don't worry, I know what I'm doing. I hope that idiot is smart and knows how to hide. He won't foolishly go up there and wait for others to kill him. Fairy Jinghong shook her head and said, You're cold on the outside but warm on the inside. Tower Master Bai Luo shook her head and said, "Bush, bush, bush." The few of them took to the sky at the same time and left the oasis, flying towards Ling Zhao's location. Burial Desert was becoming more chaotic because of Ling Zhao alone. P.S. 2 chapters of a 4,000-word chapter combined into one. I have something to do tonight, so I'll update it in advance. Rest early after reading it. Chapter 3160. Rumble. Ba Dao's entire body seemed to have turned into a dazzling saber radiance. It instantly tore through the void and slashed across the sky. The golden arrow shot by Feng Fan was struck by Ba Dao and instantly shook violently. Blazing radiance burst out and the arrow was sent flying. Unparalleled divine power surged, tyrannical and terrifying. Feng Fan could not help but turn pale. His entire body shook violently and he was sent flying. As expected of the Sky Tyrant slash. As expected of the successor of the Sky Tyrant's Saber Emperor. Feng Fan stared at Ba Dao and said coldly. His eyes were filled with incomparable solemnity. A trace of blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. His 3 Armageddon arrows were extremely powerful and could pierce through the universe. He had once killed many high-level imperial emperors. However, all of them were broken by Ba Dao. Ba Dao's saber intent was majestic, mysterious and tyrannical. It had an invincible aura as if he was the reincarnation of a saber emperor. No one could resist him. In particular, Ba Dao's method of exchanging life for life made Feng Fan feel uncomfortable. In order to close the distance between him and Feng Fan, Ba Dao did not care about the injuries he received from the golden arrow. He unleashed his supreme saber art and slashed down continuously. It was like a monstrous wave that was unstoppable. In the end, Ba Dao arrived in front of Feng Fan. Your strength is not bad. However, it's a pity that your archery skills are not up to par. Ba Dao said indifferently. The space between his brows, chest, and limbs seemed to have been pierced by arrows. Blood and flesh dripped from his wounds. Although boundless life force surged and constantly repaired his damaged body, it was still unable to completely heal his injuries. The blood that was dripping from his body made him look even crazier and more ferocious. After hearing Ba Dao's words, Feng Fan's face turned pale. He had the golden arrow and the golden bow, 2 supreme emperor weapons, together with his archery skills. However, he was still unable to kill Ba Dao, whose cultivation level was lower than his. This showed that his archery skills were not up to par. Ba Dao's words were like a slap to his face. Rumble. In the distance, Ling Zhao's chaotic fist print was unparalleled. It contained boundless power of creation. In an instant, it broke through the void and slammed heavily on Ing Yilong's body. Fist of creation. It was as if thousands of layers of divine power had been superimposed, instantly magnifying Ling Zhao's physical strength to the extreme. It contained the power of creation and life. Ing Yilong's entire body shook violently, and he was sent flying. An incomparably miserable dragon roar erupted from his mouth. Dozens of the black dragon scales on the body of the 30,000 zhang long black dragon were shattered. It was almost pierced through by soaring cloud, and a huge bloody hole appeared. The dignified, ancient and mysterious pressure on Ing Yilong's body was slowly disappearing. That was the power of the true body of the black dragon of destruction, which was about to recede. In the battle against Ling Zhao grew more and more courageous. Furthermore, he was not at a disadvantage in the slightest. However, Ing Yilong was unable to hold on. Damn it! If Ninth Brother was still here, the Black Destruction Dragon true body would definitely be able to kill him. Ing Yilong's eyes were filled with shock and anger. His entire body was dripping with blood. He looked extremely miserable. The other dragon sovereigns were also greatly injured because they had formed the true body of the Black Destruction Dragon true body. When they saw that even Ing Yilong, who had merged with the true body of the Black Destruction Dragon true body, was defeated by Ling Zhao, their eyes were filled with disbelief. Could it be that the 8 dragon sovereigns were going to be defeated by Ling Xiao today? Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. When the few sky prides of the Divine Arrow clan saw that they could not interfere in the battle between Ba Dao and Ling Xiao, they decisively gave up and charged towards Tong Tong. In their opinion, Tong Tong was only a third heaven imperial emperor. If they could capture or kill Tong Tong alive, Ling Xiao and Ba Dao would definitely go berserk. At that time, an opening would appear, and it would be the time of their deaths. Rays of dazzling arrow radiance swept across the sky like shooting stars, constantly shooting towards Tong Tong's vital points. Buzz. Tong Tong's eyes emitted a strange 9-colored light. It was like a mysterious whirlpool, causing the space around her to freeze. Those arrow radiants that flew towards her were instantly annihilated when they came into contact with the space around her. What? The few sky prides of the Divine Arrow clan could not help but change their expressions. Their eyes were filled with disbelief. However, when they came into contact with Tong Tong's eyes, they suddenly felt that their minds were attracted by Tong Tong's eyes. They were constantly being pulled, as if they were about to sink into the abyss of hell. Their expressions were blank as they stood there in a daze. It was as if they had forgotten to attack Tong Tong. Ba Dao walked towards Feng Fan, while Ling Xiao walked towards Ying Yilong. The battle was about to end. Ling Xiao, do you really think that you have won? Ying Yilong suddenly sneered. An incomparably strange expression appeared in his eyes. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he suddenly felt that something was amiss. Rumble. The ground shook violently as the surrounding void rumbled. At that moment, the void suddenly shattered. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. One by one, powerful figures came across the sky. They were as fast as lightning and their eyes were filled with cold, killing intent. Those were the sky prides of the trial challengers who had entered the burial desert. It was as if they had made an agreement. They all moved through the air and arrived here. Moreover, they were faintly approaching the clouds. Ba Dao, Tong Tong, and the other two were surrounded as they exuded an extremely strong hostility. When the sky prides of the trial challengers arrived, Feng Fan, Ying Yilong, and the others seemed to have discussed it beforehand as they did not continue to attack Ling Xiao and Ba Dao. Instead, they quickly retreated and entered the crowd. Ling Xiao, do you really think that you have offended the 8 Dragon Kings? You have offended all the trial challengers. Let's see how you can survive today. Ying Yilong sneered. Ba Dao, your talent is not bad. If you join me now, you might be able to keep your life. Following Ling Xiao will only lead to death. Feng Fan stared at Ba Dao and said coldly, Join you? You can't even withstand my blade. What qualifications do you have to accept my offer? Ba Dao sneered. You are courting death. If that's the case, then all of you can die together. Feng Fan sneered. There were at least 800 sky prides of the trial challengers here. With so many experts attacking at the same time, no matter how strong Ling Xiao and Ba Dao's forces were, they would definitely die. Among the sky prides of the trial challengers, there was no lack of mid-level and high-level imperial emperors. Have we fallen into an ambush? Ling Xiao was stunned for a moment before he smiled faintly. Seems like it. Big brother, it must be that despicable Zhu Chen's doing. Only the Guardian can locate the 3 of us. Ba Dao said coldly. Zhu Chen? Brother Ling Xiao, it seems like he still hasn't given up on his evil intentions. Tong Tong said with a smile. There was no trace of worry on his face. Chapter 3161. Oh, in Tong Tong's opinion, where is Zhu Chen now? Ling Xiao smiled. I'm guessing he'll definitely come here. After all, he won't miss such a good show. Why don't we wait for him? Tong Tong said with a smile. No problem, we'll listen to Tong Tong. Ling Xiao patted Tong Tong's head and smiled. Seeing that Ling Xiao, Ba Dao, and Tong Tong were still chatting happily, the killing intent in the eyes of the crowd grew stronger. How dare you? Ling Xiao, you're about to die. Why aren't you kneeling and begging for mercy? I didn't expect that you, the chosen one, would willingly become a robber. You're simply degenerating. Everyone has the right to kill a demon like you. Everyone. The robber is our greatest enemy. If he doesn't die, we will. No matter what, we can't let him escape today. Kill him. Many of the trial challengers shouted angrily. The killing intent in their eyes was so strong that it seemed to have materialized. Ling Xiao, do you really think that only young Master Feng Fan and I are dealing with you? We're just holding you back. Your identity as a robber has been exposed. You're the enemy of the entire world. There's no place for you in the entire burial desert or even Eternal Emperor Road. Why aren't you coming out to die? Ying Yilong sneered. Ling Xiao, blame yourself for becoming a robber. You're about to die, and you still want to put up a desperate struggle? Feng Fan said coldly. Robber? That's a good excuse. Tong Tong, it seems like you've guessed correctly. Zhu Chen really did slander me as a robber. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed as he smiled faintly. Zhu Chen, come out. Ba Dao roared, killing intent boiling in his eyes. Currently, he was extremely disgusted with Zhu Chen. Zhu Chen had schemed against him and Tong Tong, and even cursed Tong Tong. Now, he had schemed against Ling Xiao at the same time. He had never thought that the human heart could be so sinister. Zhu Chen, your plan is complete. Aren't you going to come out and enjoy this moment? Ling Zhao's gaze fell on the crowd of trial challengers as he said indifferently, "Bush, bush, bush." Right at this moment, space trembled slightly while dazzling and resplendent light flashed. Zhu Chen wore white clothes and held a folding fan in his hand. He had a handsome appearance and an extraordinary bearing, and he brought along a group of maidservants that wore light gauze as they strode through space. There was a faint smile at the corner of his mouth, looking very gentle. His eyes were bright, as if he was the focus of this world. As soon as he appeared, he took away everyone's attention. It's young Master Zhu Chen. Greetings, young Master Zhu Chen. After seeing Zhu Chen, many trial challengers and geniuses came up to greet him. Even the proud geniuses with powerful cultivation bases nodded their heads in acknowledgement. Zhu Chen appeared in front of Ling Xiao like the leader of the many trial challengers. Ling Xiao, I really didn't expect you to be a robber. It was really too disappointing. Back in the day, how revered was the celestial emperor of the human race? You are a disgrace to the human race. Zhu Chen glanced at Ling Xiao and sighed softly, as though he was lamenting the state of the universe and the fate of mankind. Robbers? What proof do you have that I'm a robber? Ling Xiao stopped the furious Ba Dao and smiled faintly. Ling Xiao, do you still want to quibble? Ying Yilong sneered and said, your fighting style is obvious to all. You cultivate the Fist Dao, perhaps the Chaos Dao or the Five Elements Dao, but it is definitely not the Poison Dao. However, you possess the Poison Dao origin and cured Ba Dao's sister of the Heaven Burial Poison. Don't tell me that you cultivate both the Fist Dao and the Poison Dao at the same time. That's right. All of us have only condensed a single Dao of origin. There are only two types of people who can condense multiple Dao of origin. Either they are peerless imperial emperors who have reached the pinnacle of one Dao of origin before condensing a second Dao of origin. Or they are Dao robbers. Are you going to tell everyone that your Dao origin has reached the peak? Feng Fan also sneered. Everyone's eyes were incomparably cold as they landed on Ling Xiao. The killing intent and cold light became more and more intense. It seems that I really can't explain myself. Ling Xiao smiled indifferently. You admit that you are a robber? Ling Xiao, seeing that you are the chosen one, if you cripple your own cultivation, I can make the decision to spare your life. Zhu Chen's eyes flashed as he smiled gently. Robber? I am not a robber. As for how I cured Tong Tong, what does it have to do with you? All of this is just your guess. If I guess that you, Zhu Chen, are a robber, does everyone want to kill you? Ling Xiao sneered. It seems that you are still stubborn even today. Zhu Chen sighed softly. Young Master Zhu Chen, you are kind-hearted, but you must not be soft-hearted. That bastard Ling Xiao is a robber, so he's our public enemy. We must tear him into 1,000 pieces and kill him. Someone shouted loudly. That's right. Young Master Zhu Chen, Ling Xiao must die. You don't have to say any more. Let's attack together. No matter how powerful he is, he must die. Someone sneered. Wait. At this moment, an anxious voice was heard. The Tower Master of Azure Heaven, Fairy Jinghong, and a few girls from the Feather Tribe flew over. Each of them was elegant and pure. Everyone, please listen to me. I can guarantee that Ling Xiao is not a robber. Please don't be rash. Fairy Jinghong stood in front of Ling Xiao and said sincerely to the crowd. This stupid woman again? Ling Xiao's heart skipped a beat. He was both amused and touched. At this moment, Fairy Jinghong still dared to stand up and stop him. It's Fairy Jinghong! Someone exclaimed in surprise. Fairy Jinghong was a genius of the Feather Tribe and was known as the #1 beauty in Candle Dragon Imperial City. She had countless admirers. No one expected her to stand up for Ling Xiao. Moreover, when they saw how certain Fairy Jinghong was that Ling Xiao was not a robber, they were a little doubtful. Fairy Jinghong? Fairy Jinghong, how can you guarantee that? Ling Xiao is a robber. This is already an irrefutable fact. Could it be that you don't care about right and wrong for the sake of your lover? A tinge of jealousy flashed across Zhu Chen's eyes as he sneered coldly. Lover? Fairy Jinghong is having an affair with Ling Xiao? How is that possible? Someone exclaimed, his eyes filled with disbelief. Instantly, Ling Xiao felt the hatred and murderous intent in everyone's eyes. They couldn't wait to tear him into pieces. This stupid woman. I'm afraid there's no turning back now. Ling Xiao laughed bitterly in his heart. Don't listen to Zhu Chen's nonsense. I have nothing to do with Ling Xiao, but I believe that he's not a robber. Zhu Chen, what are you trying to do by deliberately going against Ling Xiao? Fairy Jinghong stared at Zhu Chen and said coldly. Fairy Jinghong, you've wrongly accused me. I have no enmity with Ling Xiao. Why would I go against him? However, he's a robber and everyone's enemy. Therefore, he must die today. Zhu Chen said to Fairy Jinghong with a bitter smile. Such superb acting skills instantly deceived everyone, causing the killing intent around them to burn even more fiercely. Chapter 3162. Fairy Jinghong, thank you for speaking up for me. However, I'm afraid you won't be able to resolve today's matter. Zhu Chen is determined to kill me. You'd better back off lest you get splashed with my blood. Ling Xiao said to Fairy Jinghong with a smile. You still have the cheek to say that? Fairy Jinghong was instantly enraged by Ling Xiao's words. Ling Xiao, if you hadn't stirred up trouble everywhere, how would it have led to such a situation? If your cultivation isn't good enough, you should behave yourself. Why do you have to stir up trouble? Is Zhu Chen someone you can afford to offend? Fairy Jinghong stared at Ling Xiao and said angrily. Her eyes were filled with disappointment. Fairy Jinghong, I don't want to stir up trouble either. However, I can't be afraid of trouble, right? Some people are just looking for trouble. Since that's the case, I'll teach him a lesson today. Ling Xiao said with a smile. Fairy Jinghong, remember not to leave our side later. Charge out with us. Otherwise, don't blame me for not reminding you if you die in the hands of the sky-burying ant. Ling Xiao secretly transmitted his voice to Fairy Jinghong. What? Sky-burying ant? Where is the sky-burying ant? After hearing Ling Xiao's words, Fairy Jinghong was stunned. Her eyes were filled with vigilance as she scanned the surroundings. Ling Xiao ignored her and gave Tong Tong a look. Brother Ling Xiao, don't worry. Everything has been arranged. Since these guys don't know what's good for them, we'll teach them a lesson they won't forget. Tong Tong said with a smile. Buzz. In her small hand, a bright light ball floated in the void. It emitted a mysterious and bright light as if there was nectar flowing in it. For some reason, when Zhu Chen saw the light ball in Tong Tong's palm, his heart skipped a beat and he felt a strong sense of danger. Everyone, let's kill them together. Zhu Chen instantly roared. His eyes were filled with an incomparably sharp killing intent. Boom! The blazing light around him rose, and a giant palm print appeared in the air. It came down majestically like an immemorial divine mountain, pressing down on Ling Xiao and the others. Kill! Kill them! Kill the robbers! Many of the trial challengers and geniuses roared in unison, their eyes filled with kindness. There was also a hint of burning greed. Almost everyone charged towards Ling Xiao at the same time. Ling Xiao was the chosen one and possessed the heavenly fate. As long as they killed him, they would be able to inherit his heavenly fate. This was an unbearable temptation for every trial challenger. Rumble! Heaven and earth trembled as blazing divine light swept out in all directions. Streaks of divine rainbows swept across the sky, containing incomparably powerful waves of attack. The geniuses of the trial immediately executed their powerful secret techniques, weapons, and even monarch arts. Their attacks rained down on Ling Xiao and the others like a storm. "You're courting death!" Ling Xiao sneered as a divine light flashed in his eyes. Boom! He soared into the air, and the chaotic light around him rose. In an instant, it spread out in all directions. It was like a chaotic realm that enveloped the entire universe and the 9 heavens and 10 lands. He punched out, and an incomparably powerful primordial chaos fist imprint containing an eternal and immortal fist imprint shot towards the crowd. Heaven and earth shook, and the void in all directions was distorted. Ling Xiao's domineering primordial chaos fist imprint instantly destroyed all the attacks and sent dozens of trial challengers flying. Ling Xiao stood in the midst of the dazzling divine light. His aura soared, and he was so powerful that he was unbeatable. What? He's that strong? Fairy Jinghong's eyes widened instantly, her eyes filled with disbelief. This was the first time she had seen Ling Xiao in action. Outside Candle Dragon Imperial City, although Ling Xiao had killed the 9th dragon god with a single strike, she had not seen it with her own eyes. Moreover, she did not think much of a low-level emperor. However, the invincible aura that Ling Xiao displayed now made her, a high-level sovereign emperor, feel disbelief. Her beautiful eyes rippled with extraordinary splendor. "I knew it. This guy is not simple," Tower Master Bai Luo said with a smile. The curiosity in her eyes towards Ling Xiao intensified. What kind of person was he? Rumble! Right at that moment, the ball of light in Tong Tong's hand exploded. Dazzling rain of light sprinkled down. The golden light was resplendent and incomparably mysterious. Moreover, it emitted a strange fragrance that spread out in all directions. At the same time, an extremely ancient sound rang out, as if it was summoning some kind of existence. That sound made everyone's heart skip a beat. As for Zhu Chen, after he had struck out with his palm, he had already retreated silently and hid outside the crowd. His eyes were filled with caution. Could it be? Zhu Chen suddenly thought of something. His eyes narrowed, and his face was filled with disbelief. Rumble! At that moment, the ground shook and the void distorted. An extremely ferocious aura exploded. The crowd did not even have the time to be shocked by Ling Xiao's terrifying strength before they were shocked by the scene before them. In the yellow sand that filled the sky, 10 feet tall ants came from all directions and spread out like a tide. Those ants exuded an incomparably ferocious, baleful aura. Their eyes were blood red, their limbs were sharp, and their bodies contained explosive power. Especially on their limbs, the blades flickered with a strange black light and emitted an incomparably powerful poisonous mist, causing people to tremble. Most of the ants were black, but there were a few hundred silver ants among them. Those silver ants were larger, stronger, and more ferocious. Sky-burying ant. These 3 words appeared in everyone's hearts at the same time. Instantly, an incomparably terrified expression appeared on their faces. Sky-burying ant, the most terrifying existence in the burial desert. It was not to say that the sky-burying ant was very strong. There were many existences in the burial desert that were more dangerous than the sky-burying ant. However, the number of sky-burying ants was extremely terrifying. Every time they came, they would cover the sky and cover the earth. They were like an endless tide. Moreover, no one could cure the sky-burying poison. Once one was poisoned by the sky-burying poison, one would definitely die. Among the sky-burying ants, the black ones were warriors, The silver ones were generals, and the gold ones were kings. Seeing the scene before them, everyone almost fainted. There were tens of thousands of sky-burying ants, and there were even a few hundred silver sky-burying ant generals. Were they going to capture them all in one go? Damn it! Why are there so many sky-burying ants here? Run. If we don't run, we'll all die. Run? There are sky-burying ants in all directions. The sky-burying ants can also travel through the void. We have no way out now. Many trial challengers and sky prides were filled with horror. They could not understand why there were so many sky-burying ants here. Chapter 3163. Ling Xiao, it's you. You lured the sky burial ants here? Ing Yilong suddenly looked at Ling Xiao, his eyes filled with shock and anger as he roared. That's right. I lured the sky burial ants here. Since you want to kill me, why don't we all die together? Let's see if you can escape from the sky burial ants if you want to kill me. Ling Xiao smiled faintly, his eyes filled with incomparable coldness. Bastard! Ling Xiao, you're indeed a robber. Ling Xiao, you'll die a horrible death. Ling Xiao, I won't let you off even if I become a ghost. Many trial challengers and sky prides were furious. Their eyes were filled with monstrous rage and murderous intent. If not for the sky burial ants, they would have charged forward and completely shredded Ling Xiao into pieces. Become a ghost? After being poisoned by the sky burial ants, you can't even become a ghost. Tong Tong shook his head and said with a sigh. You really lured the sky burial ants here? Are you crazy? If that's the case, you can't escape either. Fairy Jinghong stared at Ling Xiao and said in disbelief as though she had just met Ling Xiao. Everything about Ling Xiao today had refreshed her understanding of Ling Xiao. This heaven's chosen son was too strange. Of course I lured the sky burial ants here. I can definitely escape. Remember to follow me closely later. Otherwise, if you fall into the sky burial ants, I can't save you. Ling Xiao said with a smile. Bastard. Fairy Jinghong clenched her fists. Although she was furious with Ling Xiao, she felt a little relieved. Everyone saw it, right? Ling Xiao must be a robber. He's so crazy that he lured the sky burial ants here. From now on, he's the public enemy of all of us. Everyone attack together. Even if we die, we have to kill him first. Zhu Chen shouted at the crowd. Young Master Zhu Chen is right. Ling Xiao deserves to die. Kill him first. Everyone was filled with righteous indignation. At this moment, their hatred for Ling Xiao even suppressed their fear of the sky burial ants. The aura around each of them was terrifying beyond compare, and they were preparing a peerless attack. They wanted to kill Ling Xiao with their lives first. However, Zhu Chen's eyes flashed and he left the crowd silently. He wanted to tear open the space and escape from this place. Rumble. However, at this moment, space distorted violently. Terrifying auras rushed into the sky, completely locking down the space in an instant. 36 figures with terrifying auras soared into the sky from the desert. They floated in the sky, exuding an arrogant aura. Those were 36 heaven-burying ants. They were 300 meters tall, and their bodies looked like they were cast from gold. They were dazzling with golden light, and they were filled with a sense of beauty. They emitted an incomparably terrifying aura. 36 heaven-burying ant kings. This is too much. 36 heaven-burying ant kings came at once. Ba Dao's and Tong Tong's expressions changed. Ling Xiao, Ba Dao, and Tong Tong had planned all of this beforehand. They had expected Zhu Chen to deal with them. Therefore, Tong Tong had refined the materials from the 7 heaven-burying ant kings that Ba Dao had killed into a strange liquid that could attract the heaven-burying ants and cause them to go crazy. However, Ba Dao and Tong Tong had not expected to attract so many heaven-burying ants. Moreover, there were 36 heaven-burying ant kings. Tong Tong could not help but look at his brother. Ba Dao's heart skipped a beat. He quickly waved his hand and said, "Don't look at me." Even if I use the forbidden saber, I won't be able to kill many heaven-bearing ant kings. Instead, they will take revenge on us. At that time, none of us will be able to escape. Brother, you're useless. It seems like we can only rely on Brother Ling Xiao now. Tong Tong said helplessly. Ba Dao suddenly felt that he was injured. Rumble. The 36 heaven-bearing ant kings appeared in the sky as if they were extremely intelligent. They were not in a rush to attack. Instead, they sealed off the space around them. Beams of resplendent light shot into the sky like divine chains of order. The seal that the 36 sky-bearing ant kings had set up together was like a huge prison, sealing everyone within. The eyes of the 36 heaven-bearing ant kings were extremely cold with a tremendous murderous intent. They locked onto the cultivators below them. Meanwhile, Zhu Chen did not manage to escape in the end. He was knocked back. Damn it! Zhu Chen's expression instantly turned unpleasant. Everything was going according to his plan, but he never thought Ling Xiao and Tong Tong would be able to attract the heaven-bearing ants. The crowd was in a panic when they saw so many heaven-bearing ants. They could barely take care of themselves, let alone Ling Xiao. 36 heaven-bearing ant kings? It seems like most of the cultivators are going to die to the heaven-bearing ant kings. How pitiful! Ling Xiao said with a sigh. Stop being so pretentious, isn't this what you were hoping for? Hurry up and think of a way. We won't be able to escape when the heaven-bearing ants attack. Fairy Jinghong rolled her eyes at him. Are you so sure that I have a plan? Ling Xiao asked with great interest. You asshole might like to stir up trouble, but I don't think you're crazy enough to seek your own death. Cut the crap, hurry up and think of a way. Fairy Jinghong urged him. Meanwhile, the 36 sky-bearing ant kings roared furiously at the same time. Their voices were like rolling thunder that shook the sky. It was the signal to attack. When the tens of thousands of heaven-burial ants in the surroundings heard the roar, all of them roared toward the sky. At the same time, a murderous aura filled their eyes. Their killing intent was incomparably blazing as they instantly launched an assault. It was as if a huge wave had swept through the world. Endless heaven-burial ants came charging over, covering the sky and covering the earth as they charged towards the trial challengers. Let's go! Otherwise, we're all going to die. Zhu Chen roared anxiously. He no longer held back and attacked immediately. Rumble! A blazing light rose from his body as a silver-white ancient sword appeared in his palm. Sword chi swept across the place with unparalleled sharpness. Every slash was able to take the life of a heaven-bearing ant, 8th Heaven Imperial Emperor? What a powerful cultivation! Ling Zhao's heart skipped a beat. He finally saw Zhu Chen's true cultivation. He was an 8th Heaven Imperial Emperor, only a step away from becoming a peerless Imperial Emperor. He was so powerful that the heaven-bearing ants could not stop him at all. However, he was soon noticed by the heaven-bearing ant kings. In the blink of an eye, several sky-burial ant kings soared through the air and charged towards Zhu Chen. Brother Ling Xiao, what should we do? Tong Tong asked Ling Xiao. Ba Dao, Fairy Jinghong, the Tower Master of Heaven, and the rest of the Feather Tribe were looking at Ling Xiao. They had unknowingly treated Ling Xiao as their backbone. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.